I want us to take a look at that, the political hardball or siasa hardball that we are experiencing. Honorable Stephen Munania, who is the Deputy Governor of Murang'a, will be here. Kevin Katisia, Speaker of the County Assembly of Kitui, will also be here. And Dr. Evelyn Ogendo, who is a political analyst and a commentator, will be here as well. Then slightly later than that, after that, we'll be talking with Bishop Jonathan Kabiru Kariuki, who is the third Bishop ACK, that is Archdiocese of Nairobi. Is the church still the voice of reason in the country? Stick around for that. What did you say? Do you say good morning in Taita, Vivian?
Kwabuka mana.
Nessa?
A very good morning to each and every one of you who is tuned in on the show this beautiful Monday morning. This is the right way to start off your morning as we get you informed on different matters that are happening around the country, the world at large, and get to tackle different topics from segments right here on the show. Today being a Monday, aside from the conversations that Victor will be having, that is on politics as well as on matters the church and them being the voice of reason, we will also be having our segment that is the family check segment, and our conversation this morning will be, the question we are posing to you is love enough to sustain a relationship? Is love alone enough to sustain a relationship? I would be waiting, or rather I will be waiting to get to hear your sentiments on the same. And with me, the people who will be joining me for that particular conversation will be one, Anthony Gaido, who is a psychologist, mentor and mental health champion. We'll also be having Nelly Mutai, who's a multi-media creative and actress, as well as Patrick Minor, who's a trainer, mentor, and the CEO Pro Mentors Africa. We'll be tackling that conversation at exactly 9 a.m. this morning. So you better stay tuned to the program this morning. I can see Marie is on the other side. But
before you go to Marie, you're wondering why Mike is not here. Mike is just across our borders. I don't know whether he's learned a language or two, but he's out there for a very important reason, and Kenya is selling herself as one of the tourist attraction sites, actually centers and country in Africa, and that is why we have got a lot of delegates selling the Kenya Tourism Week that is happening in Osaka, Japan. And it must be a very interesting moment to be there. Mike?
Indeed, Victor and Vivian, I'm coming to you from Osaka, Japan, where the Expo 2025 is happening. A city so orderly, a city so clean, a city so cool. But I have to say, the weather here is quite hot. Right now, the weather is ranging to about, if I may check here, it's about 33 degrees out here. We are 6 hours ahead of you. I know you've just woken up, but I've been up for the last 6 or so hours. So I'm here in Japan covering the Expo 2025, where Kenya is showcasing itself or placing or trying to position itself as the best trade and investment hub in East and Central Africa and the global at the global stage. And the week is consisting of various events. Yesterday we had an event that was dubbed the Kenya Diaspora Networking Dinner, where various stakeholders, including the government officials, came together to talk, have questions, and chart the way forward on how to leverage on Japan as a market and also East Asia. So this is going to be a very interesting week for Kenya, because the whole of this week is dubbed Kenya Week, and the hallmark of it will be on Kenya National Day that will be celebrated on the 24th of June this year. So this is happening this week, and I am right here to make sure you get every bit of every event that is unfolding here. So keep it KBC Channel 1. Good morning, Kenya. And I will be here to tell you what's happening right here in Osaka, Japan.
Thank you very much, Mike. But that was a show of, I've been up for 6 hours when you're still asleep. Bana, no. Marie.
Yes.
Hata sisi pia tutafika to those 6 hours, right? But I think it's an important event happening there.
They are ahead of us, yeah?
Yeah.
6 hours ahead.
6 hours. Okay. Good morning, Marie.
Just good morning. Just like I think China is about 7 hours ahead of us. So people are already up and doing their thing while we were still snoring. Yeah, but a very important event happening there in Osaka, Japan, and Mike will be there to take us through what will be happening there. You know, tourism is a big thing all over the world, so we'll get to hear more as Mike takes us through that, probably today or even tomorrow, just giving us tidbits of what's happening. But a very good morning from wherever you are joining us. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya, and we are coming to you live from Nairobi. I'm Maria, and here's a look at what's making headlines this morning. Communities come together across denominations to remember the young lives lost during last year's anti-finance bill protests, and tensions flared in Gdongori yesterday as current MP Gdongori Constituency went head-to-head with her predecessor over a road project. And later on in sports, 7-time Olympic medalist Christy Coventry to lead IOC at just 41 years old in a ceremony set in Lausanne, Switzerland. Details coming up in this bulletin in just a moment. We begin where young people in the country have been urged to remain steadfast in demanding truth and justice during an interdenominational prayer service at All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi, dubbed Lest We Forget, to honor young Kenyans who lost their lives during the June 2024 anti-finance bill protests. The youth were urged to be bold in agitating for accountability and good governance. The interdenominational survey takes place just days before protests are planned for June 25th.
Sunday afternoon, hundreds of Gen Zs trooped to All Saints Cathedral for an interdenomination prayer service in honor of victims who lost their lives during the June 2024 finance bill protest. The over 2 hours prayer service, attended by faithful from various denominations, saw the young people resolve to continue with the push for accountability and good governance in the country.
All we are asking is for justice for those who have been killed, compensation for the families of those who lost loved ones, and we want to commit the church. The church will stand with all the people of Kenya and all the problems that they are going through.
Listen to them. Wakibadilisha story ati alijinyonga, alikuwa vicious na drimbigi, hakuna venye angejitia kitanzi. His love for the people ilijulikana mtaa kwa bidii yake na kazi. He was not a thug. Just because mlicross path akitetea zake haki, madhe amewachwa not just as a widow. Amepoteza sons. Future yake iko wapi?
During the service, parents who lost their children during the 2024 Gen Z's protest emotionally narrated what they termed as a living nightmare following the loss of their children.
Lakini rais kama anatusikiza, akiwa na utu hata kidogo, hata mnyama ako na utu, akiwa na utu hata kidogo, atuangalie kama wasasi, tunaumia. Japokuwa hawezi rudisha mtoto wangu, haisirudi. Hakuna kitu, nimebaki hivi. Hakuna hata mwenye ananishika mkono. Jameni viongozi, hakuna hata mwenye amenishika mkono. Mimi nashanga sana.
The memorial service also presented an opportune time to call the church to order, with speakers urging the church not to sit on the fence in the face of injustices being meted on innocent Kenyans.
Coming together as churches is to tell everybody that the Gen Zs who died and who are being killed are our children. And we can't stand idle and watch as they die.
A section of opposition leaders who attended the service called for justice for the victim, calling for an end to the use of excessive force by law enforcers.
We need to stand together in solidarity. We call again on the police to now know the world is watching. If they come out and shoot Kenyans on the 25th, things will never be the same again.
The memorial service comes days ahead of the planned nationwide demonstrations on Wednesday 25th to mark the first anniversary of the deadly protest, during which the police shot and killed several demonstrators at the height of the protest against the controversial 2024-2025 finance bill.
And still keeping with the Gen Z protests, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has denied claims of sponsoring goons who looted and assaulted protesters during last week's protest in the city. Sakaja has termed the allegations as false, malicious and politically motivated. The governor said that he has engaged the police service to offer security during the planned 25th June protests being held in honor of those who lost their lives during last year's anti-finance bill protests.
I have never and will never sponsor violence of any kind. My entire political life has been anchored on siasa safi, which upholds human dignity, the rule of law, and the democratic rights of every Kenyan. I have never used violence to gain power, and I never will. My record speaks for itself. These accusations are not only false, they are a desperate attempt by certain well-known individuals whose political careers are marked by violence, by intimidation, by chaos, who have gone as far as to hire goons to come and infiltrate protests and say that I'm the one who sent them, so as to taint my name and to gain political mileage. They have cheapened the cause of our young people. Fellow Kenyans, let us not be hoodwinked. Some have even gone as far as giving them county paraphernalia to say that they work for the county government or that they are my supporters. Nothing is further from the truth. But we must condemn those who seek to take advantage of legitimate protests to incite violence and destabilize our city. We will not allow criminal elements to hijack our democratic space. I urge all Kenyans and the people of Nairobi to reject violence and criminal behavior as they take to the streets this coming week.
And drama ensued in Gdongori Constituency after the area member of Parliament, Gdongori Constituency, clashed with former legislator Gabriel Kago over the launch of the road construction of a 4-kilometer road in the constituency, that is. Constituency accused Kago of colluding with government officials to undermine her development record, while Kago insisted as the leader he was at liberty to start development projects. Constituency, who stormed the event, went ahead to launch the road, insisting it was her duty as the sitting legislator.
The launch of the construction of a 4-kilometer road in Gdongori constituency turned into a political contest pitting the current MP and the former lawmaker. On one side, the current Gdongori lawmaker Gdongori Constituency accused her predecessor Gabriel Kago of plotting to undermine her development record.
Mimi kama mjumbe wa Gdongori ambaye amesimamia serikali kuu ambaye inajenga barabara hii ya kutoka Kiai Gothie Getobo Kumerera Getwaba. Nirudie, hii barabara inayotoka na ni barabara ya Mau Mau.
Constituency, who confronted Kago alongside her supporters, argued she had not been notified of the ongoing works which had affected residents living along the road.
Baba uliye juu mbinguni, twakuomba kazi hii ifanywe kulingana na mapenzi yako.
But in a quick rejoinder, the former member of Parliament Gabriel Kago insisted he was at liberty to support development projects, urging residents to ensure the contractors are allowed to do their job without interference.
Mimi nataka kusema nimekuja hapa siku ya leo. Shauli tuliambiwa kuna mtu alikuwa amekuja hapa jana, alikuwa anataka kupinga ujenzi wa hii barabara na akafukuza contractor. Mimi nikapigiwa simu na watu wa hapa Gitombo, na mimi nikawaambia huyo ambaye anafukuza contractor yeye ndiye anafaa kufukuzwa.
The political showdown came even as the residents of Gitombo hailed the start of the road construction, arguing they were not concerned over who had lobbied for its construction.
Hii barabara juu yote ni mikode, hakuna barabara. Hii barabara ni matope, imeisha yote. Sasa kila siku tuna pikipiki inaharibika.
Na shida yetu kubwa, tunataka kutengenezewa barabara na iko na shida kidogo. Kuna watu wanapinga ambaye hatujui ni nani, na ndio maana tumerauka sisi wote hapa tuseme barabara iendelee na tuwekewe lami.
The locals say construction of the road in the region have over the years been used for political expediency, calling on leaders to work harmoniously. Wamushomba will later launch the road construction project, insisting she is a sitting legislator. The road will connect Kwamaiko Kibichoi Road at Kiagi with Ruiru Gdongori Highway.
Abdiaziz Hashim reporting there. Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is alleging a plot to frustrate his 3-day visit in the Mount Kenya region through state-sponsored goons. Speaking at a church service at AIPCA St. Mary's Church in Gdongori Constituency, that is in Meru County, Gachagua accused local leaders of mobilizing goons to cause chaos during his political rallies, maintaining he will not be derailed from his plan to unify the region. At the same time, he faulted the Independent Policing Oversight Authority for failing to make public the statement by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, that is Eliud Lagat, following the killing of blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang.
Mheshimiwa, hao watu wa Buri walikuchagua. Mimi mwenyewe, my mother is from Kibirisha. Hata kama ni madharau, how do you plan violence against your own brother? You have sunk too low, stopping us to come to the Church of Christ. Wewe mheshimiwa, utachaguliwa na nani?
Mwaka uliopita tulikuwa na vijana ambao walitaka kukomboa nchi yetu, na wameamua kwamba tarehe 25 watakuwa wanajitokeza kukumbuka ile siku wale wenzao waliaga wakipigania nchi yetu. Ningependa kuomba serikali kwamba kupitia polisi hakikisheni kwamba mumepeana security ya kutosha, watu wafanye peaceful demonstration.
Well, barely days after welcoming her newborn, Daisy Sergon suffered a life-threatening stroke. 2 brain surgeries and a series of medical procedures later, she remains weak, half paralyzed and speech impaired. Her medical bills ballooned to 6 million shillings and the costs are still accumulating as she requires physiotherapy and another surgery. This state of affairs has left her family financially drained, and they're now appealing to well-wishers to assist them in clearing the bill and give Daisy a fighting chance to reunite with her baby. Ben Chumba has the details.
Undergoing an emergency cesarean section, Daisy Sergon collapsed at home. The young mother had suffered a stroke. What followed was a frantic race through hospitals, 2 brain surgeries, and weeks in the intensive care unit. Her husband, Chris, remembers vividly the events of that morning that changed their world.
Early morning of 24th May, when Daisy complained of feeling some dampness in the left side, and little did I know that there were signs of stroke. So within a few minutes, I went back to check on Daisy, and I found her lying on the floor, having collapsed. She had suffered a stroke on the left side. So immediately I mobilized some people, and we came and carried Daisy and took her to the nearest hospital.
Doctors removed a life-threatening clot from her brain, then performed a medical procedure known as decompressive craniotomy to manage the swelling.
To ensure that they allow the brain time to swell so that it can swell to its maximum and then start healing. So that involved removing some part of her skull, which was kept aside until she heals, which up to today is still kept aside. And so that again prompted her to be taken back again to ICU.
The surgery saved her life, but left her with a huge medical bill depleting the family's resources.
The bill now is over 7 million, and the 700,000 for the insurance has covered that. And then we got an approval from SHA for the procedure that was done for her for 336,000. So we have tried as a family as well. We have raised some part of the bill, around 1.5 million Kenya shillings. But this is still held up in the hospital because of the balance of around 4.7 million.
I'm sure and I believe if this is discharged and goes to meet the child, even the healing will be faster. Because the feeling of the child is not near, the feeling of how is my child will at least disappear.
Though she has begun to show signs of recovery, such as return of her speech and movement in her left leg, she remains physically weak and is half paralyzed on the left side.
We are expecting that she will get to go home to continue with the home-based care, but then after 2 months, she's coming back for another procedure. They call the cranioplasty. That is now to return the part of the skull that had been taken away for the brain to heal.
With her journey to recovery far from over, the family is pleading for financial aid to settle her medical bill.
Please, well wishers, we beg you, and I know and I trust, you love our feelings and the support.
The baby will be grateful for the help that you have offered so that she can be reunited with her mother.
They need to support that anybody will put in through to assist the mother at least to go and be close to the child to feel the warmth of the mother. I know, even if we say thanks, it would be enough.
To support Daisy, send your contributions to pay bill number 538-2066. 538-2066. Account number, your name.
Thank you, Ben Chumba, for that report. And indeed, do give a lending hand to Daisy to reunite with her baby and her family. Remember, they say, kutoa ni moyo. So whatever you have, doesn't matter how much it is, it will go a long way in helping the family. Now, we look at counties where Nyandarua County has been thrown into mourning after one of the longest-serving nominated MCAs passed on following a grisly road accident along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. There's some more stories in our continuous roundup.
Hito died on the spot after her car was hit by a bus near the Naivasha-Kinangop junction at around 1 a.m. on Sunday.
She has been nominated for 4 times. This is the 4th time. Na ni kiongozi ambaye alikuwa anapatia viongozi wengine ambao ni wachanga a lot of wisdom, using wisdom, a lot of guidance, and it is totally sad.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Defence Forces KDF have conducted a free medical camp for Kwale County residents in Gobato, Bongwe. The medical camp comes before the start of the 16th International Military Golf Tournament to be held in Diani.
Camp kama hiwa ni muhimu sana kwa wenye hawezi pata hiyo huduma ya afya kwa urahisi. Wenda ni kwa sababu ya ile distance, ukiwa hospitali iko mbali, ama saa zingine ni mapato yako chini.
And the Kenya Space Agency has launched partnerships with schools in Western region to advance artificial intelligence-driven innovation on Earth observation, edge computing and satellite networking technologies. Speaking at Kolanya Girls National School, KSA programmer Joan Ekale noted that this collaboration aims at strengthening Kenya's space capacity and fostering space innovation among schools.
Technology is transforming different aspects of the industries across the globe, and this is shaping how careers are being chosen. So we want to thank Kenya Space Agency for bringing this exhibition to Busia to expose our students to different career paths.
In Isiolo County, elders from various communities in Isiolo have raised concerns that the ongoing impeachment process against Governor Abdi Guyo could trigger intercommunal conflict if the rising political tensions are not addressed. The elders warned the political rhetoric could threaten the county's peace.
Tunaomba serikali yetu siku ya Jumatano tupate security ya kutosha, na hao wakome mawe ya kupiga watu. Rungu, mnatembea na rungu ya nini? Hii kiti mlichukua na njia salama, hamujachukua na njia ya vita. Kwa nini mnataka kuleta vita?
Finally, farmers in Migori County are grappling with severe losses following an outbreak of African swine fever in Awendo sub-county. The county government has imposed restriction and segregation as initiative to curb the spread of the disease.
The pigs were dying as a result of African swine fever. So that was confirmed by the Department of Veterinary Services. And initially we thought that the situation could also affect the lives of our people.
A look at sports now, where Kenya Morans finished fourth in the 2025 Rugby Africa Sevens tournament after losing in the third-place playoff match to Zimbabwe at the Labour Donais Sports Club in Mauritius. South Africa were crowned champions of the tournament after beating Madagascar in the final.
Kenya Morans started day 2 of the Africa Rugby Sevens Cup with a game against Nigeria in the quarter-final and continued with their impressive run to beat Nigeria 43-12, qualifying for the semi-final.
Persuasive show of the ball, and it'll be see you later. I'll go under the sticks. Jackson Siketi draws first blood for the Kenya Morans. Kenya A-side have got it back. Abukuse. Another one of the new faces in the side. He'll finish now. And they needed to take their time and make sure they big opportunity. Now against the grain. Here comes William Mwanji. And running up against it, Lamek Ambetsa will win the foot race.
The tide changed in that semi-final after Madagascar came from a try down to beat Morans 14-10 to qualify for the final, as Morans were relegated to the bronze medal position match against Zimbabwe.
At pace now is Andrew Matoka. In fact, it is Crisanto Schwang who will finish. It turns after almost 6 months.
Again, Morans let a 12-point lead slip as Zimbabwe came fighting from behind to win the bronze medal with a 21-19 win.
Have some fun in the sun. Island-style rugby. The ball in contact. So here come the Kenya A side now. Just look at the determination on his face. Dennis Abukuse. Another youngster.
South Africa were crowned champions of the tournament after beating Madagascar 28-12 in the final.
And to matters Olympic, where the Olympic capital is set to make history as Christy Coventry officially takes office as president of the International Olympic Committee on Olympic Day, that is Monday the 23rd of June. That is being today. The handover ceremony is set for Olympic House in Lausanne, Switzerland, home to the IOC since 1915. The 1983-born Coventry, a 7-time Olympic medalist and former Zimbabwean sports minister, won gold in the 200 meters backstroke at both Athens 2004 and Beijing 2008, and earned 5 additional medals in backstroke and medley events across the 2 games. On Olympic Day, she will become the youngest elected IOC president in the modern era during the 10th IOC session in Greece, and the first under the current institutional framework to take office in her early 40s, a milestone in the organization's 131-year history.
That I would be standing up here one day, getting to give back to this incredible movement of ours. This is not just a huge honor, but it is a reminder of my commitment to every single one of you, that I will lead this organization with so much pride, with the values at the core, and I will make all of you very, very proud and hopefully extremely confident.
Well, that's where we wrap up the morning news. Thank you so much for starting your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. As always, you can check our website for more stories, these and more stories, and also on our social media platforms. My colleague Victor Lowe will be up next with Eye on Politics in just a moment. But right about now, let's take a break and then we'll be back. My name is Marie Yambo.
Semana Spokes.
Semana Spokes is a bold, enlightening television show that offers Kenyans a direct line to the heart of government operations. Hosted by the government spokesman, Isaac Mwaura.
Welcome to Semana Spokes Bonga da Gava.
This weekly program features candid conversations with senior government officials, cabinet secretaries, and heads of key parastatals as they break down their ministries' achievements, challenges, and strategic plans.
Cage aquaculture farming,
Yes.
8.7 billion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of, and we have not even tapped the potential.
As we get closer to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework.
Thank you, the spokesperson, for this chance where we are able to converse with our government.
Semana Spokes.
Hii sio story ya jaba.
Sio story ya jaba. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.
Thank you.
Tuesday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check. From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's now 6 minutes past 7 a.m. on this beautiful Monday morning. Let's talk about politics today. Of course, being a Monday, it's Eye on Politics, and we take a look at what is really happening in the country and, of course, across the globe. We want to dig deep and make sense of what is happening in the country. All right, and my guest already in studio. I have Stephen Munania, who is the Deputy Governor of the great county of Murang'a. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Karibu.
Yes.
How is Murang'a doing?
Murang'a is well. We do appreciate, and I want to say good morning to my viewers from Murang'a and across the country. Murang'a is doing well. We just came off from hosting the first ever Murang'a Investment Conference.
Yes.
We want to ensure that we have businesses and development flowing in Murang'a. And so Murang'a is good, and we hope that the vision that we have for Murang'a is going to sustain the development of that space for at least the next, it's going to shape that space for at least the next 50 years in terms of development, investment, and trade.
All right, and Dr. Evelyn Ogendo, who is a political analyst and a commentator. She is a psychologist, by the way, by profession. That's what she does best. Dr. good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Good to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Karibu.
I'm happy to be here, and good morning to Kenyans.
Karibu sana. And the Speaker of the County Assembly, I call him Wakili. Kevin Katisia, who is not new to, all of you are not new to Jerusalem. All of you. You're not new to Jerusalem. Dogo, how are you?
I'm fine, Victor.
You're well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Karibu sana.
Good morning to all the Kenyans, especially Kenyans from Kitui County, where I come from.
Yes.
I'm happy to be joined by Dr. Evelyn Ogendo.
Yes.
And Honorable Stephen Munania. I believe we shall have a wonderful morning show.
Absolutely. And now that your mic is still on, allow me to ask you this question. So it's been a very rigorous week, all weeks for us in the country. Let me just take you back for, just a minute. The last 1 week, what really stood out for you? What are some of the key highlights that you picked through the week as you entered through the weekend and now in the new week now?
Yeah, thank you, Victor. I think we all know that we are finalizing the financial year,
yes,
especially in the county government and the national government budget making process. Of course, the issue of the finance bill, which is both at the national government and at the county level. And I think what really made me happy last week was when the National Assembly and Senate Mediation Committee was able to agree on the DORA.
Yes.
And they agreed at 415 billion, which I think towards the counties is a win. Because the previous one was very low, but now the senators and MPs are able
DORA means Division of Revenue Allocation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now at the county level, I'm sure...
you have to be careful somewhere like DORA.
Instead of well.
It's acronyms.
Yeah, exactly.
Division of Revenue.
Yes.
Allocation.
Yeah.
Of Revenue Act, sorry. Yeah, so we want to thank the Parliament for that. And also I know, Victor, I know there have been several political activities across the country. You know, it is very interesting that we are already in a political mood when we are 2 years away from the elections.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that is a country which we live in, and we must accept the reality that Kenya is a very political country. I think what is important is to note that it means Kenyans like participating in the electoral process. And I think it's a challenge to any developing country, because if you want to be a developed country, you must ensure that you are active in ensuring that you get able leaders who are able to lead you. But Victor, what I can request my fellow Kenyans is that I think it is important to know that there's time for everything. Yeah, elections was done in 2022. We will be doing the elections in 2027, and we believe that the mood which is there right now will be exactly the same mood in 2027, because people sometimes they go very high, then now towards the election they disappear, and instead of now being active in the voting itself, you disappear. Yeah. I'm saying that taking note that I am a young person, and the young people, especially this week, there's that preparations which I'm seeing on the papers on the June 25th. And we hope that, as I've read in the papers, the police will ensure that we have a peaceful demonstration. The demonstration is allowed in our constitution, but it has to be peaceful. Yeah. However, as the young people turn out in numbers to have their voice heard, I believe that as we prepare for 2027, they will turn up in numbers to have their vote seen, because your vote is very important. And I want to urge my fellow Kenyans that we must accept to be led if we want to lead. Because 2027, if Stephen Munani wins again as the deputy governor or the governor, I'm sure he will be expecting Kenyans from Murang'a to allow him to lead. Yeah. So I think what I've seen is that we are really fighting our own government, instead of allowing those who are in government to lead. When it comes to our turn to lead, we shall lead. And I think that is the way to go. That is how democracy operates. However, those in government should also listen to the ones who are being led. Because as per our constitution, the people are sovereign and they are the most important. So the leaders must listen to the people, and the people must allow the leaders to lead them.
Exactly.
So that we can move as a country.
Okay. Let's come to Dr. Dr. Your key highlights. Wakili has given his side, and of course, I would really like to get yours as well.
Well, apparently, I don't have, there's so much going on in this country. I would say our country that was once understood is currently very toxic. You know, you wake up in the morning to news, this happened, this person does that, this one does that, and then the street protests, and then I'm thinking, every time we are hoping for a peaceful protest, but seems like it's a pipe dream. More kids are losing lives. And Kenya right now looks like a marriage when it's getting to 3 years. When the wife is talking, the husband is talking, and no one to listen. You don't even know who's supposed to listen and do something. You know, what I'm seeing, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of information. You know, there's a way there's a lot of information going on that is not verified. That turns out to be more of rumors. And I really wonder, when I look at the leadership, I do not want to say I'm for or against, but I would like to have a scenario whereby who is talking, who is supposed to act, or what is it that we're supposed to react to? Because looks like our country, there's a team somewhere that is brewing the thought process of Kenyans. You know, like this week, this is the thought process that you should work with. And then somebody knows if you release this type of information, this is how it is going to go on. This is how Kenyans have, you know, we know ourselves. You know what agitates Kenyans? Exactly. We know that very well. According to me, there's a silent team somewhere that brews which type of thought process we should be processing every time. There's no resting. And then these reactions, and then we're looking at now the opposition is forming. You know, initially when the broad-based was being formed, we did not properly understand whether we have opposition because we were used to Honorable Raila being on the opposition. Now Honorable Raila is in the government, in a broad-based arrangement. So, and then slowly, and then the group, the team, the political team for Honorable Kalonzo and Wamunyoro. Okay, the position is forming, that's what I would say. We are trying to see who are those who are in the opposition team. But I'm wondering, who is going to provide, you know, whatever team this one did, the president did this, didn't do that, organized this, all this, you know, my big question is, how is it helping us as Kenyans? Fine, that happened. Can we have even 1, 2, 3 verified allegations? When they are verified, we deal with it. And then secondly, when you want to move on board, anybody wants to move on board and maybe oust the president when it comes to 2027, should be solution-oriented. Why is it not a solution-based? Because looks like you know in politics, Victor, let me tell you, you wake up today, you want to paint me as such a bad person. The only thing you need to do is to arrange some words and put them together that make me look bad. But if you wake up and you want to make me look good in politics, they have that expertise of doing that. But now there's too much of that animosity in the sense that mpaka we are losing it. And the apparent problems still remain. The bad economy still remains. The joblessness still remains. You know, the cost of living still remains high. And then, what are we struggling? Everybody's struggling to oust maybe the president. Can we have solution-based arguments? Like, what are you bringing that is better than the government of Ruto? And then we consider you. And then you inject these things directly to the problems Kenyans are facing. The healthcare is shaping up. The education system is also shaping up. So we want to be given hope. What is going to happen when you become president? What is going to happen when you become governor? What's going to happen when you become a member of parliament, MCA? To provide hope for the Kenyans that they have lost that hope currently. But you wake up in the morning, you want to call these leader names. You want to make everyone realize how this leader has failed. And then how does that help Kenyans? So we are in a catch-22. Because you don't know actually what is it. You want to give me too much information how bad you are.
And that's, of course, that's the nature of a Kenyan politics.
Yeah, that's the case. But now it's not helping us. Our problems are escalating.
Let me get from DG. Your key highlights. I mean, you've heard what Daktari said. We are being fed. It's like our plates are literally full. So which one? It's a buffet.
Somebody's having.
You know, I want to follow from the point that Daktari has made and try to define the politics as I understand them as a big magic trick. You know, where you have a distraction here when something else is is happening here.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what you wanted to say about the noise that we have within the political atmosphere. Noise of distraction and something else is happening. But I would categorize my key highlights on three issues that that I have interacted with this week. The first being what we have, I came from the first Murang'a Investment Conference, which was very huge for the Mount Kenya region and especially for Murang'a, trying to position Murang'a as the industrial hub within the central region, as the area where we want to aggregate the production in terms of secondary production of the Mount Kenya region in Murang'a County, and we have set up the first Murang'a Industrial City. It's a 1,500 acres piece of land where we have set up the first industrial city.
That's a good step.
Having a special economic zone, an export processing zone, which has other outliers from outside, where you have the County Aggregation Industrial Park. You have one of the largest landfills within the Eastern Central Africa that we just created for that purpose. And so we were encouraging investors to come to Murang'a so that they can not only invest within the future of Murang'a, but also invest in the economy of the central region.
Should start with us here.
And one of the key indicators was having a vision. We were launching Vision 2050 for Murang'a, which was to establish that region specifically, because you realize Murang'a is only that 45 minutes from CBD. It's only 40 kilometers from JKIA, with a rail on that piece of land that can be able to take products from there to the Mombasa port. We want to position Murang'a to that. So that has been a very key highlight.
Very good.
It's something that we have been working on for a very long time, and we would wish for any investors who may be listening and who are across the country to come to Murang'a for that. For that. The second key highlight that I'm going to look at is the budget making process, both at the counties and the national level, and despite the politics that are within the year. That is one of the biggest issues that is going to affect this country for the next 1 year. Because remember, the budget making process affects where resources have been taken, where resources have been redistributed. And so that should be on the back of the minds of every Kenyan, because it speaks to the priority of the nation. It speaks to the priorities of the government. And so when you are looking at the budget making process, look at what the national government has put in its priority, and one of the key highlights that
to the counties,
even towards the counties, because when you look at the national government, you see we were looking at what Mustahiki Speaker was talking about, the DORA, the Division of Allocation Act that provides for resources to the counties in terms of what is being provided to the counties. One of the key issues that I have seen is the issue of the road maintenance levy that has been the tug of war between the national assemblies and the Senate, is because it's money that is supposed to go to the counties. If that is passed within the National Assembly, then counties such as Murang'a is going to have an additional allocation of around 250 million that is going to service roads. Counties across the country are going to have at least above 150 billion in terms of monies to do with roads. You look at those budgets, then you look at other allocations in terms of the education sector, and then you look what are the priorities. For example, in the national government, the priorities have been made towards hiring and maintaining more teachers, more than the capitation that is there within secondary schools and primary secondary schools. The removal of examination fees, or rather the reinstatement of examination fees. How is it going to affect the landscape? All these are budget questions that are happening within some of the key highlights that we need to look at.
It's some good news that the counties were added more money last week. From 4.5 to 4.15 billion?
Yes. But remember that this was supposed to be 460. It was supposed to be 460 as initially thought. So having this, we are still headed in the right direction with that addition. But what I am speaking to are those highlights. Kenyans need to really look out for that.
Great.
And the third key issue that I am looking at this week is the political landscape. What has been on our face each and every day? You see the issues of human rights and issues of police brutality being spoken on the news. In fact, there have been the headlines since Tuesday on a daily basis.
Almost for the last 3 weeks we've had that.
Yes. It has been the conversation. And that has really obscured anything else developmental or process-oriented issue. Now culminating with the weekend activities and the battle for the Mount Kenya region that you saw in Meru or we call it the Mount Kenya East. And those are some of the issues that when you look at the political atmosphere, at least those are the key highlights that I might look at and say that are going to shape at least
that brings me to my next question of the political hardball that actually today is our there's just a hardball we are trying to experience right now. Of course, because we have got ethnic mobilization, limited political activities in the country, we have got, different political parties being formed, friends having tea at what point and all that. There is a lot happening. Dr. The political hardball that we are trying to see, what would you make of everything? He's actually started the conversation. I don't know whether you had my Mwakenya here, DG. I don't know. You've had my Mwakenya, but
somebody has leaked
my Mwakenya. The political hardball that we are experiencing right now with 2 years to the election. Go ahead.
Sometimes, one day in politics is such a long time.
Absolutely.
We could be, I remember even the beginning of this year, even up to 2 months ago, we were discussing differently, and the temperature of this country was quite different. And now what I see right now is the grouping in terms of how do we get the president out of power in 2027. It's a serious grouping. New parties are being formed, like Omnyoro, I'm sure, and is trying to popularize his party. And then we have other presidential candidates coming in, like Dr. Matiang'i also, though she is yet to come out, like which party is he going to use? Is he going to use an existing party, or is he going to come out with his own party? We are still waiting for that type of information. The hardball is there is too much, like I said initially. Our leaders seem to have an apparent very big disagreement, though sometimes what I know about politics, sometimes politicians pretend to be disagreeing, and then now the other citizens get, they believe, that there are ways. Who knew, like Honorable Raila could work with President Ruto? I think even you, Victor, you didn't. Even you really didn't expect this.
Well,
we are here to analyze the truth about politics. And what does that inform you? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Even Omnyoro can still work with the president. Everybody else will get shocked for 1 week. And then life will go on. Right now they have a serious beef. And I think what I would say about the hardball that is going on right now, and I don't want to look like I am insensitive to His Excellency here next to me, the Deputy President for Murang'a, but Governor. The Kikuyu community...
Deputy Governor.
Yeah, Deputy Governor. I don't want to look like I'm insensitive. I don't want to sound like insensitive that you're here, but I want to address the kind of unfamiliar space the Kikuyu community is in right now. And I don't want to talk about Mount Kenya. I want to split them into their own tribes. Right now we have a president from Meru, who is His Excellency Kindiki. The Kikuyus since independence, so they are fighting two wounds. They have two wounds, being in the new space. The new space is since independence in 1963. If a Kikuyu is not a president, he is the deputy president. If he is not the deputy president, he is the president. Backspacing too, since we got independence. Now, the unfamiliar space, there are two things. The unfamiliar space is they don't know how to be out of government in the mainstream. So we are fighting that perception that they have that teething issue, that they are in unfamiliar space and they are so scared that how can we get out of this space? We may be here for quite some time. Other tribes may want to come in and be president and a deputy, and they are very uncomfortable because they do not know how.
You think so?
I want to disagree.
I think it's an.
I'm just giving my view. I'm giving my view. Yeah. I'm giving my view that can be right or wrong according to how you perceive it. But my perception is the Kikuyu community is in a new space that they do not know how to maneuver through. They are used to being either president or deputy president. The same for the Kalenjins. Are you saying? So the Kikuyus are the first to step out through the impeachment of Rigji. So there is that agitation. You can imagine you're on the table. You know, like me, I cannot agitate too much because I've never been president, I've never been what. So he knows what is missing. So there's that agitation, and then there's that spill out of anger from Rigji. Sometimes, you know, you are so confused. Could he be saying the truth? If it is the truth, this is toxic. We do not have a country. And then again, can you prove to us one of two allegations? We want to go to the end. You know, because we are bombarded with so much information at our go. This deal, the president is involved. This deal, the president, Adani, what, staff, hey, this hotel, I was seeing some things going on. And then I'm like, give us, we would like to go to the end. Like, these things you have said are too many. Let us start one by one. You know, there's a way of investigating and coming out. This is true, actually, not rumors. Okay. Not these things I get behind TikTok and then I'm busy saying things. No. Yeah. We want these things verified for us to know even what to do. We could be reacting on rumors.
Okay. Are you just watching how DG is looking at you?
Yeah, he's looking.
Like, do you know how politics is played?
I'm seeing how it's played. You know, I'm seeing how that one makes him uncomfortable. But I prepared him.
No, he's looking at. Do you know how politics is played? So the verification you are trying to talk about, you know, the allegations. Perhaps it's the more comfortable way of politicians doing their game.
Allow me just to respond a minute before
I take a break.
I would wish you give him permission.
No, I would wish to respond a little bit. There is something that I have seen within the political space that is called political pragmatism. And political pragmatism indicates that a politician is going to do what they need to do to, first of all, to get to power, and then the rest comes later. Because nobody negotiates outside of power. And if you have seen the reality, and I want you to look at the history of Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been the biggest quagmire in this Kenyan politics since the multi-party. He understands that when you are not in power or you have no position within the establishment, he has been, regardless whether he has been elected president or not, he has been the nearmost president that the political atmosphere has ever seen. He has formed a coalition government with virtually every government that has been formed since 1992.
I want to take a break. When you come back, Speaker, give us a vote. For a break, give us a vote. Yes. When as many as...
There's one of that opinion say aye. The ayes have it.
The ayes have it. Let's take a break.
No, that's a good one.
Naitwa Vicente Ramos. Mimi ndio baba Katolo Konyo.
Sasa hiyo juu naweza keep change.
Ongeza hiyo that mbombo za hii.
I'm not paying anything on top. Ngaja.
Mama. Habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Nimekuletea hii.
Fungua hapa mimi natoka wewe.
Bana ndio wajiri peke yake. Wewe nyuma. Hii kitu itakagi uonyeshe watu tuko na pesa. Weka mara.
Nini?
Hapo ni choo na ukimaliza ukumbuke kuflash. Usithubutu kwenda huko.
Kwa nini?
Watu wanafungua chera huko wanachapa watu vibaya sana.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
And welcome back. Welcome back. All of us now have their cups of coffee. DJ can cool down. You can cool down. As we come, let's come back. All of us, welcome back. Just enjoying the conversation here. The political hard game, the hardball that we're experiencing. Of course, we have got so many of them. We'll take a look at. But Speaker, now we are back. Talk to us. What you're experiencing in the country, we have got formations, of course, from your own understanding, we have got political rallies across the country, friends having coffee the way we are now having coffee here. We expect this to continue, based on what the two leaders have said. What do you make?
Thank you very much, Victor. And actually, the theme of today's show is very, very important.
Siasa hardball.
No, siasa hardball. In Kikamba, we say, Vomwe, vetwe. Hardball.
Yes.
You know, playing a political hardball. But I think myself, Victor, being a professional, and especially a young professional, for that matter, I think we have to move away from this political hardball and differentiate governance, leadership, and politics. The three are very different. No, Deputy Governor, you're in governance. At the same time, you can't distance yourself from leadership. And at the same time, you can't distance yourself from being a politician. The three of them must be differentiated. If we want to really serve our people and ensure that we properly ensure that our people are well governed, we must strike a balance and try to differentiate all these issues. What is happening in Kenya right now is politics. Leaders have forgotten that they are leaders. They should govern and lead. They are now politicking. They are now focused on 2027, Victor. That is so unfortunate. Actually, for lack of a better word, I may call it very selfish of us leaders. If you can't lead at this moment and also govern, you are now busy politicking. Do you really care about the people of Kenya? Victor, if you look at this constitution of Kenya 2010, I am a lawyer by profession, and I actually I was admitted in 2010, October, 2 months after this constitution was promulgated.
So you got it.
So I was given it fresh, and I read it word by word, page by page. Victor and my fellow panelist, Dr. Evelyn and Honorable Stephen, there is no way in this constitution where there is a mention of opposition. Once you are elected, you all join the government. Whether you're in the opposing political party or not, you're all in government. Because we all draw our money from the exchequer. All of us. Murang'a County Government, Kitui County Government, even every part of every public entity in Kenya. Homa Bay County Government, they draw money from the exchequer. That's where governors, they push for early release of monies from the exchequer. Even the issue of the road maintenance fuel levy. And let me inform DG that that matter has been sorted, and actually money has been now released to the counties. And now the county government should do the roads. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to serve our people. Currently, we must know that there's only one president of Kenya. and one deputy president of Kenya. We have cabinet secretaries. We have one government. At the same time, we have the county governments. And we expect the national government and the county government to support each other. The constitution is very clear. As we do our politics, because now we are in that momentum now, we are now focusing on 2027. First of all, let us live the moment. Let us serve Kenyans now. Tomorrow will come and tomorrow will sort itself. Yeah? So what I can urge my fellow leaders is that let us try to avoid being selfish. Yeah? I am a leader, Victor, and I am in Wiper. And of course, we have a Wiper party leader who wants us to work with the DCP, and we appreciate that. However, for those of us who are in leadership currently, at some point we have found ourselves differing with him, telling him that we have to work with the government of the day. We have to lead our people to work with the government of the day so that we can get development in our counties. The other day I met the president with a team of MCs from Kitui County. Today, Victor, I am meeting the deputy president, and at the same time, we are being told by our party, we are in opposition. Don't meet these people. But I'm telling my party that I have to differentiate politics and leadership and governance. I have to differentiate. If I meet the deputy president today, Professor Gdongori Constituency, I will not meet him as a UDA party leader. I'll meet him as the deputy president of Kenya. And I will try to air out the issues affecting Ukambani, Kitui in particular. So I think what we need to do as we play this politics of handball, we must know that we have a nation to protect. To be very honest, Victor, I have traveled. I have gone to our neighboring countries in Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and even outside Africa. I can tell you Kenya is a great nation. Many countries are actually envying us. Many people out there, they envy Kenya. We must ensure that we take care of our country. Long gone are the days when we used to be patriotic. Being patriotic means you really love your country. As we do our demonstrations, as we do our politics, we must know that we have a country to protect. Many people, Victor, will wake up and attack Raila Odinga. Of course, people may say he was politically selfish. But when it comes to leadership, would you be happy, Victor, if Kenya is not stable? Would you be happy? Yeah, if Kenya is not stable, all of us will suffer. Actually, the common mwananchi will suffer. As who in leadership could have the ability to sustain ourselves for a year or two, but the person down there, that Wanjiku down there, they will suffer. So what I can tell maybe my brother from Muranga is that I know Muranga now, the temperatures are very high, it is a DCP, I thought Kambas were in-laws to the Kikuyus, but now we are cousins. I don't know what happened, but I respect that. At least we are in the family setup. But I think of importance is to appreciate that the Kikuyus, they fully participated in forming the government. It is true. I don't think the Kikuyus only, but the Mount Kenya. And if you look at our
Kenyans did.
I'm saying mostly. The keyword is mostly. Okay. And if you look at even the government structure, even at the cabinet, we have very many cabinet secretaries from Mount Kenya, and even principal secretaries, because they participated. Even after the DP Rigiji was removed from office, a DP came from Mount Kenya. Not necessarily from Kikuyu land, but also from the Raka is also in Mount Kenya. So to be honest, according to me, they have not lost that much.
But is it possible to change that process of picking leaders from a particular region because of their participation in forming of a government?
That is true.
Is it possible?
Victor, it is possible, but politically it may not be possible. Because there are those who have been with you when you are forming the government. But ideally, that should be the case, actually. Should be the case. So that we have one government for all the 45 tribes of Kenya. We must be in the same basket as Kenyans, not looking at our tribal lines. Because if you look at it that way, you'll see that some tribes really suffer. So my parting shot is that as leaders, and especially now I want to challenge some of us who are in the county governments, we must know that there's only one government of Kenya. County governments are part of the government of Kenya, we're part of the government of Kenya. We can't do anything on our own. We must partner. Article 6.2 of the Constitution and Article 189. The county governments and the national government, they must consort, they must cooperate, they must support each other, assist each other, collaborate, and we are the ones who are the grassroots.
Through you, Victor, I'd like to ask maybe one clarity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Dr. Evelyn.
Well, when you talk about participation, and then the people who participate are deserving to get more seats, maybe I'd like you to shed a bit more light. What do you mean by participating? Because, we become so scared because there's what Wamnyoro introduced some time back of the shareholding, and it makes other Kenyans uncomfortable when you say participation. What exactly do you have in mind?
Thank you, Evelyn, for that question. I actually want to clarify myself. I was saying that, politically, we are politicians. Myself and DG, we are politicians. And sometimes we are convinced by the people who are around us that we must involve them in the government, But ideally speaking, actually every Kenyan should be on the table, whether you voted for that government or not, ideally speaking. But Dr. Evelyn, we must be politically realistic.
I know what you're trying to say.
Yes.
I'm trying to break it down to our Wanjiku out there.
Yes.
When you talk about participation, because when it comes to an election, all Kenyans participate.
That is true.
So which is this special participation that you're trying to refer to, so that we get to understand? Like me, I come from Kisii, because we did participate in the election. Either we chose the president or we didn't choose him. Every county, there are those who choose the president, there are those ones who will not choose him, but he'll be president for all of them.
That is
so when you say that those who participated, they're the ones who are being given priority, what comes into any mwananchi is you are introducing the shareholding that Wamnyoro came in with, it was a backlash. Now, when you say about participation and Mount Kenya participated more, just the only bit I want to understand, what do you have in mind when you talk about they participated more than other Kenyans in other counties? Just that part, participation.
I think that question is meant for DG, but let me try to
No, you introduced it. You did it.
Yes.
You introduced it.
Before we went for the break, I think that was the discussion. What I can say, and for clarity, I am fully against the issue of shareholding. Fully against. Because actually, as campers are the ones whom Wamunyoro, he came to Kitui, there was a church fundraiser, and he said, you campers, your shares are very small. You do not support this government. And we felt very bad. Even though he has called us cousins, but we still have that.
He told us the same in
he needs to apologize to us. But however, what I'm trying to say, Dr. Evelyn, is that currently, Dr. Evelyn, we live in Kenya. We don't live in the space. What we are seeing currently is that those who participated in forming the current government, all of us voted, you had your candidate, but those of us who participated in forming the government currently are the ones who are in those positions currently. Yeah, but ideally speaking, actually, every Kenyan should be on the table.
Let
me pass it to the DG.
Conversation, Mheshimiwa, in Daktari. One, we have to accept about certain realities of our nation. We have to accept the realities of our political setup. We have to accept the realities of the democratic process. So we did not confuse between the two. One, the democratic process states that everybody has the right to participate in the formation of government. And that participation is on two key areas. One, direct voting. Secondly, through representation. When you vote your representative to represent you in the National Assembly, the County Assembly, the Presidency, governorship, in each and every county, you have participated in the democratic process of forming a government. However, the formation of the government instrument is dictated by the political parties that form that government. And whether we want to say that we come from very different backgrounds, but political parties form government. And this is the political realities across the world. Political parties form government. That means the current ruling political party or political coalition is the Kenya Kwanza political outfit, which whether it has merged with anyone else, but that is the tool that was used to form the government of the day. So the realities are that the manifesto and the structures of the Kenya Kwanza government are going to manifest itself on who becomes the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the Senate, who becomes the Speaker of the County Assembly, who becomes the Majority Leader, who becomes a Cabinet Secretary, who becomes a PS. But remember, the rest of the structure of government is not a political. We have, aside from those elective positions, anything else below the PS is still public service that serves Kenyans.
That has changed, DG. That the process of changing all this has been, floated to Kenyans by the political class. To change that narrative of winner takes it all kind of system, to include almost everyone in the system and governance and in political, arena and all that.
And this is the conversation that I do believe that he was alluding to.
Yes.
Whether those aspirations are good. We would aspire a situation where the nation of Kenya, once we get to elections, people come together, we form a singular government that serves the people. But that is an aspiration, and a very good aspiration allow me to finish my point, because that's a political utopia. Because still remember that whether you want to agree with me or not, you had contenders of a presidential election. One gained a political seat, which is the presidency, another lost. You had contenders in the governorship seats. One got the position, few other lost.
Yes.
Whether you want to put it from members of parliament, members of county assembly. And so it is not to mean that when you form government, that the people who supported the rest of those people to get into those voting, because they had a few electoral votes of themselves. They had mobilized Kenyans. They had visions of their own. It is not to mean that that vision is lost to Kenyans.
But it could be the same thing that Terry was trying to say.
No, to come down.
The political hardball that politicians are playing amongst themselves and to Wanjiku.
And so the participation that I want to come to, the participation that Terry was speaking
more than others.
Yes. Let me just redefine that question of participation. To what level are you participating when it comes to the formation of government?
I assume that's a question to her.
And I want to ask her. And I want to ask her in a very simple reality. There are various levels of participation. There is the democratic process participation that every Kenyan participates. And then there is formation of government. And the formation of government, we have to be very categorical. It rests within the executive power and the executive instrument established by the constitution of this republic. Through the political parties, through the National Assembly, through the Senate, through the county assembly, and through the governorship.
Order, Governor. Actually, before Dr. responds, I want to also clarify.
I'm going to forget. Okay.
You'll not forget that. I wanted to clarify and partially agree with the Deputy Governor that, and he's very right. In government, we have political positions and we have civil service positions. Dr. From PS going to CS, Deputy President upwards, those are political positions. And you can't expect President Ruto, having won in Kenya Kwanza, to get people from other political parties. We love to get people from his coalition, those who believe in his manifesto. No, those are political positions. I have to be realistic as a politician that if I was not in the government party, the party which formed the government, I can't really be on those political positions.
Because how do you really implement a manifesto with a person who doesn't believe in your vision?
Can I answer
and that becomes the political back?
Yes, now you can answer.
My argument, trust you me, how many ministers do you have in the government from Mount Kenya? Let's begin there. I want us to play the hardball, that you brought us here to play. Now, it is like this. I want to simplify on the mat.
Soften it a bit.
Let me soften it.
Soften it.
So it's a soft ball. Let me go soft.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about the participation, I'm sure you meant, it's about the numbers that that got this government into government. So when you say that participation, you did not really define it very well, Your Excellency, because there are hidden things, these participations. One, you participate democratically by going to vote on that time. There are those ones who may have financial support, which did not come out here. You invest in a government because you know you're going to get something in return. So, and that is the part that has disadvantaged most of the regions in this country. Like Kisii, it has really disadvantaged us too much. And now when we talk about, we get scared when anybody talks about forming a government according to participation levels, and we are Kenyans. What Kenyans expect is that We are on a level ground. What Kenyans expect is, treat me like another Kenyan. So there are these things that do not augur well. In fact, what even has brought back Wamnyoro people to listen to him is because those who hate the president are listening to him more because he is saying things that increases the hate that they want and his chances of being ousted. So what we are trying to say is, it's politics is just too selfish, especially the one being practiced in this country. Is because you wake up, argue according to what benefits you. You don't argue according to that one.
Thank you. I want to ask you a question each. How do we change this narrative, the political hardball that we experience in this country, either through electoral reforms, either changing the system of winner takes it all, empowering Wanjiku, all right, devolution, just making sure that devolution works. How do we move away from this? I want us to talk about something else briefly before we end up, because we have got a few more minutes to go.
How we can change this whole narrative, even if we change the system, you see, people don't, there's a wind of disobedience to the constitution, to the judiciary. There's just disobedience in this country. What can change this country is a mindset.
Go ahead.
It's just a mindset of the Kenyans. Like the toxicity, like trying to look at the big picture. And the leaders helping Kenyans, when you elect an MCA or something, people listen to him. The people who have numbers, if they can help change the mindset of Kenyans. Sometimes situations don't change. What changes is the way you look at it. We are in an economic crisis. The more you keep on fighting about it does not change the economic crisis. But if you choose to look at it differently, like ending the street murders through the protests, like changing, like finding out what's happening to the young people, listening to the young protesters, creating jobs for them so that they can have a plan B into the protest and being in dangerous space. And then trying to bring up, they silent the mothers of this nation. The people down the streets mostly is the boy child. The people come up crying about their missing children, their dead children, and the mothers of this nation, whose voice is silenced. Or rather, I don't know whether it's by factory setting, but they are not speaking. People will speak and bring voice of reason. Like, I am not in the government, I am not for the opposition, I am not for the government. Now, what is ailing our country? Like arbitration. So that's why I come up and think about, are we going to go on fighting? 25th, I'm sure more are going to die because, our children,
God forbid.
And that's not what we want. But you can ideally see that is dangerous space our children are going to go to. And let me tell you something else. You see, these children of ours, when you are of age, when you are of age, even our children at home, there are things we know about their fathers and we do not tell our children because they are going to get into war, into conflict.
I'll come back to you for your 5 minutes of facing the nation. That's what I will do, facing the nation through your camera and talk to us. What would we do to change the political hardball to a softball where there is a consensus across board from the executive straight down to Wanjiku?
I would want to speak towards some of the most basic tenets that have been given power from our constitution. And that is the ability of the government of the day to provide and give breadth to the structures of governance that goes beyond a political formation or any political self-interest of an individual or a leader. So that, because there is one thing that we can never eliminate as a nation. It's the personal interest of anyone. Whether they are the personal interest of the common wananchi, the personal interest of any leader, or any person given any position. That's the self-determination of any individual. That can never be eliminated. So you cannot expect people to act against their own selfish interest. That is a given to any person, because any person is going to do what they need to do to move from one stage to another, to survive or to do the rest. However, if we put breadth and give strength to the structures of governance that are in this country, then the political noise is neither here nor there. It's just going to be a breadth into which we form government, we continue for we provide the clarity of ideas to be implemented in the manifesto, in the vision that the government that comes have. But however, protecting the key tenants. And I want to mention three areas that we need to protect. One is the devolved system of governance, especially giving breadth to the county governments to be able to implement their devolved functions. Because currently, the county government are facing a very big bottlenecks from the national government, where you see structures that seems to have, we have one system of structures that works for the national government and another that doesn't work, that work for the county government. You have two standards. An example is the control of budget as an institution that controls the budget implementation of the county government. You find that they have one set of rules on what the county governments should do and another set of rules of what the national government does. And you have seen that even when, for example, two key issues, one was the bursaries and the healthcare systems and the payments that comes to the counties. You find that the controller of budget can just wake up one day and say the county government should not give bursaries, and he writes a letter to the counties without any legal framework of indicating that what you need to do that. We go to court, win that case, but then the controller of budget still does not release those monies. The second structure that needs to be put breadth to protect Kenyans, so that all this political noise fades away and we change how we do things, is the judiciary. So that once the judiciary is respected and given strength and it has no political tourniquets that are tied to the executive, to the National Assembly and to the political formations, we can rely on it to defend the rights and the constitution of this country for the purpose of the benefits of Wanjiko. The third tenet would be the National Police Service or our security agencies. Why? Because remember, the National Police Service and why it was changed from the National Police Force to the National Police Service, it's for it to serve the people and not to serve the people in power, or maybe to serve the people or the command structure or any political outfit. But what are we seeing? It is still subject to manipulation, such that you can have a police service that escorts goons to beat Kenyans. When has that ever happened? If you're not in charge of protecting the interests of the people, but then you are put in a place where a police service is strengthening the ability of goons and criminals to beat up Kenyans who are participating on a constitutionally protected right of demonstration. Then you have to ask yourself, these structures, are they working?
I'll come back to you, my brother DG, so that I'll give you all 2-3 minutes each, so that we do a quick wrap. This is how we do it. How to make Kenya great. In your own perspective, how to make Kenya great. But before you do that, you also have 2-3 minutes, Speaker. That how to soften the hardball that we are facing. It's wanasema syllabus inakimbia mbio sana.
Kweli. And Victor, I agree with you that if we mean well for our country, we must change the political handball. If we really care about our people. As politicians are the ones who have this sole responsibility. And actually, I want to appreciate today's panelist, Victor, next time ensure that we have gender balance. See, the discussion has been very good because Dr. Evelyn Ogendo here is really balancing us very well. So I have to appreciate Dr. Evelyn. You have kept us on check and on toes, and we believe that that is the way to go. Victor, I am a lawyer, and I can tell you there is one famous quote by the lady Professor Okoth Ogendo, who said that you know, in Kenya we have a very vibrant, we have a constitution without constitutionalism. Or rather, we have the text of the constitution and there is the spirit of the constitution. Many Kenyans...
Which is the DNA? The text or the constitution?
The spirit is the DNA.
The spirit is the DNA.
No, constitutionalism. Kenya, Victor, we have a very good constitution. Actually, even for those who are pushing for it to be changed, we don't really need to change this constitution. We need to fully implement this constitution. We need to inculcate that spirit of constitutionalism to Kenyans. This constitution actually is the solution to all our problems. It is true, yes, we have the freedom to demonstrate, picket, as per Article 37, but at the same time, Article 24, gives some limitations. You can't just wake up and go and try to steal or loot somebody else's shop, or because today I read in the papers that whenever there are demonstrations, we lose a lot of money as a country. you know. So for us to change this political hardball, we must really try to embrace this constitution. Many leaders are living in the past. Actually, they are living in the old constitution. There is nowhere in this new constitution where we have the issue of opposition. Everybody, as Dr. Evelyn was trying to allude, all of us are in government. All of us are Kenyans. All of us, whether you voted for the president or not, you're a Kenyan. All of us should be taken care of by this government, and all of us in government. You know? So what I can advocate for, Victor, is that as leaders, we must set aside personal interest and embrace the interest of the people. If you are a deputy governor of Murang'a, for example, I'm sure you have to push for the interest of Murang'a people.
Yeah.
But don't follow the wave of Munyoro because you want to be re-elected. That will be personal and it will be selfish. But push for the interest of the people because you know, you can serve the people now. You know, tomorrow belongs to God, Victor. You can't know really well whether you'll be there tomorrow. You must thank God for today. The opportunity, Victor, I have now of being the Speaker of Kitui County Assembly, I need to use this opportunity well. I need to ensure that there's good governance, good leadership in Kitui, and good leadership in Kenya, and that is the way to go.
Thank you.
As I finish, Victor, all Kenyans, especially young people, you know, we need to know that we need to ensure that we do things at the right time. Now is not time for politics. Time for politics will come, Victor. 2027 will come, Dr. Evelyn. We shall go to the ballot and we shall vote.
All right, let's take a break.
We shall participate.
All right, and when we come back, we'll, as the way we do it, very fast, all of them will take their respective cameras, and our topic of today is how to make Kenya great, okay? So each of them will be given 2 minutes, face the camera and face the nation, how to make Kenya great. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
"19 nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's saved.
This unique competition featuring the best locally based players from across the continent definitely has something for everyone. Just bring your A game as you let it flow live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Camera 2. All right, so, welcome back. All right, it's now time to get that segment, how to make Kenya great. As Kenyans, citizens, and even leaders out there, we have got our sole responsibility to make our country great, despite and almost in everything that happens to us, our political agitation, our clamor for making this country economically stable. We have a responsibility to make it great. And that is why, on this show, I'll start with Dr. Evelyn Ogendo facing the camera and giving us her opinion as a leader on how to make Kenya great, starting now. Doctor.
Oh, wow. Which camera? Okay. Oh, right. Well, what I would like my contribution to this country, I would like through our leaders, because they still are role models. Let us help the Kenyans change the mindset. Let us give the Kenyans hope. Let us create, let us think before we bring out conversation that increase the conflict that is going on in our country today. Let us air it in such a manner that it is solution-oriented than creating more crisis in this country. And I would like those leaders who are interested of leadership. We are now in 2025. The election is going to come in 2027. If we can have some kind of concentration in serving the citizens of this country, Kenya, until that time, not only even in 2027, at least up to the end of 2026, so that you can honor the manifestos that you aired to the citizens, and so that we can get leverage in terms of we are able to depend on you. You are dependable. So when you look like you are not dependable, the citizens also feel insecure, and that's why we're having so many protests around. And my humble prayer is to the police of this country, please let us, if the demonstrations are peaceful, and I'd like to tell our young people, if you find the streets are infiltrated by goons, please don't go to the streets. Let everybody pray safe. Even if we are going to face the courts for over your deaths, what it means, the nation is already losing young people, that going to court and winning a case over somebody who is dead is not a win, according to me. But doing it the right way and you remaining alive to fight for those rights, it is a better way to go. And that is my contribution. Basically, let all the leaders drive towards changing the mindset of our great country, Kenya.
And how to make Kenya great.
And how to make Kenya great.
What do you make of her contribution? She's talked about police reforms, rule of law, and constitution. 30 seconds.
Thank you. I think she's spot on, because those are some of the issues that affect the sociability of Kenyans.
Yes.
And the ability of governance to have relevance in this country. We have to remember that the people of Kenya are more important than any one individual.
Thank you.
And so I do agree on her sentiment.
All right. Wakili?
Thank you, Victor. Mine is to also agree with Dr. Evelyn Ogendo, and also agree with His Excellency Stephen Munania, that indeed we have a responsibility as Kenyans to make our country great, especially us who are in leadership. Because as per our constitution, of course, we know that sovereignty belongs to the people of Kenya, you know, but this sovereignty can be delegated. It has been delegated to us as leaders by the Kenyans, and we must ensure that we offer the correct leadership. And as I earlier said, Victor, I want to challenge Kenyan citizens that let us embrace our Constitution of Kenya in 2010. The Constitution is very progressive.
Okay.
Let us fully implement our Constitution. And Victor, before you cut me short, I want to say that leaders...
I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you. Let's come to DJ.
Yes.
This is your camera one.
Okay.
How to make Kenya great in 2 minutes, starting now.
How to make Kenya great? I think this will be, my vision of how to make Kenya great is very simple. One, we need to embrace public participation and active public participation in governance and leadership. The government of the day should be able to create the necessary environment for development and not participate in commerce itself. Because the government, by providing the necessary environment, and here I'm going to give an example. If, for example, we create the necessary environment for industries, we create the necessary environment for enterprises, then we create more job opportunities than the government itself could create in its own governance structure. And so therefore, allowing the private sector to do what the private sector does, it is going to be one of the biggest inventions, or rather progressive behavior of a government for our development. Secondly, let the government concentrate on social issues so that we can have an improved healthcare system, we can have an improved agricultural sector, we can have an improved policing environment, or rather we can also have the place where Kenyans can be able to actively engage in commerce. And allow me just to put into context the place for professionals and experts within our governance. Murang'a, for example, has created one of the biggest issues of one of the biggest tools of governance, which is the Murang'a Budget and Economic Council, that brings together professionals across the country who have done great things for this nation in creating enterprise, in service to this country, who are giving back to the county in terms of governance. And this group of experts and professionals have created a vision for Murang'a, which is 2050, to move Murang'a from an agricultural sector to an industrial hub, from primary production to secondary production. Therefore, we are going to create more job opportunities in the next 20 years, almost to 300,000 jobs within the county, by moving towards that direction. Why? By allowing professionals and experts to participate in governance, in development, we can be able to enhance the ability of the private sector to move to the right direction. And so my vision on how to make Kenya great is for I as a leader, I as a politician, to be the lowest influential person within the county, so that we can have the people who create more job opportunities, people who create more economic progress, to have the upper hand in terms of resources, in terms of policy that guide them, in terms of support politically and socially, so that they can do what they do best. And the biggest example I can give from this studio, if you look at the private sector, for every one person who is employed by the government, you find 9 more employed in the private sector. Therefore, the private sector is better suited to handle issues of employment rather than the government itself. And so therefore, by highlighting the private sector, highlighting professionals and experts in governance and economic development, then a country, a county, and the nation can move forward into development rather than the government taking the lead in terms of progressing the country.
Thank you very much. That is deep, right? We agree with him. Dr.
I do.
Speaker, we agree with him, right?
I agree with him.
Out of 10, rate him.
Let me rate him after I give.
You're done with yours. Okay. Camera 2 is yours, Okini Speaker.
Thank you.
In 2 minutes, before we wind up, how to make Kenya great, starting right now.
Thank you, Victor, and fellow Kenyans. I want to start by saying Kenya is already a great nation. We should only make it more great. Because, we have to appreciate what we have. If we start saying you're not great, we shall be demeaning ourselves. We need to appreciate ourselves as a country and now make ourselves more great. And the best way for us to make our nation more great, fellow Kenyans, is to ensure that we embrace fully our Kenyan Constitution. Our leaders should know, myself being one of the leaders, should know that the people of Kenya are the supreme of this country. They have all the powers. All the powers belongs to the people of Kenya. And at the same time, our people who have now elected us to be in these positions should allow us as leaders to lead them and to govern this country. And as we do so, as the Deputy Governor has said, we need to listen to our people. We must do the will of the people. A good leader listens to the people, hears what they want to be done, and then does the will of the people. And that is the challenge I want to pose to all Kenyans leaders. Secondly, I want to say that as leaders who are in government now, we need to ensure that we lead and govern and stop politicking. Time for politicking will come. There is time for everything, as it said in the Bible. There is time for politics, there is time for governance, there is time for leadership. And at this time, I want to ask all of us that we allow the leaders who are in office to lead us and to govern us. And I want to challenge those who are previously in the government led by the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, and the other ministers who were fired, that they had their time in government and we were quiet. If they were kicked out, they should not go out there trying to portray their anger to every Kenyan. Actually, they were replaced by able Kenyans, able citizens of Kenya, and they need to respect those who are in government so that we can have a peaceful government. And lastly, the national government should fully support the county governments. County governments, if you look at the spirit of the Constitution, devolution is meant to ensure self-governance for the people of Kenya. You know, and because we are, us at the county level, are the ones who interact closely with the common mwananchi, if the national government empowers county governments, then we shall be able to deliver more development to our people. And of course, in the county government, we have the county assembly and the county executive. And the county assembly, where now I am, are the people's representatives. Even though the governor is elected by the people, but the duties given to the governor are executive. But the MCAs now are the ones who have the representative role of the people. And I want to ask our national government and also our county governments to empower MCAs, to empower county assemblies so that there can be effective oversight at the county level. So that now the little resources which we have, because Kenya, Victor, Kenya is a rich country, but the problem is the management of our resources.
Thank you.
If we manage our resources well, the little which we have, we shall be able to develop this country and make Kenya even more and more great. And I want to end by saying, for now, kindly, fellow Kenyans, allow our leaders to work, and our leaders should listen to our people. When it comes to 2027, exercise your right as per Article 38. Go out there and vote for the leader you want. And if you want to make your presence be felt, it should be felt more better at the ballot.
Thank you.
You may talk a lot now, but what is important is what you do at the ballot. Thank you very much, and I want
Let's make Kenya great again.
Thank you.
Let's continue making Kenya great.
We should continue making Kenya great. Yes.
Thank you so much. How did you perform? Out of 10?
I give myself 9 out of 10. DG here is 8, and Madam is 10 out of 10. That is always right. Madam is 10 out of 10.
Examination is clear.
At least I am number 2 to
examination.
He has weakened in my opinion, so I'll not rate.
We've all done well. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I've rated you. Okay, thank you so much. Kevin, Speaker, please just raise the front page of the Daily Nation. What's on the front page? The way we usually do it. Front page, what is there?
State House gets another 20 million for renovations.
That's
890 million.
890 million shillings for renovations. That was the front page of the Daily Nation. Dr. The Star newspaper, what's on the front page?
The Star newspaper is the pain of 3 billion daily loss in protests as huge demo planned.
Okay. That's coming up on 25th of this month, of course. And DJ, finally, on the front page of the Standard newspaper?
I think this was deliberate. Deliberate. Betrayers of Gen Z.
Was it?
Because it's self-serving.
The two of them.
For a long time, Raila Odinga stood out as the voice of the common Kenyan in repressive. So it was no surprise that during the heist of last year, Gen Z, a video of a young man asking the former Prime Minister to step aside. But now the real shock came when Raila quickly struck a deal with President William Ruto and with Dr. William Ruto, a move widely seen as betrayal and noble cause of good governance he had championed for decades.
Thank you. All right. That's how we do it. So you can go out there and pick your favorite paper based on the headlines and read it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to the show. We've really enjoyed, and whatever we do, let's respect the rule of law and follow the Constitution. Okay, how to make Kenya great again? Our colleague Mike is in Japan, and of course this week the key highlight is Kenya-Japan trade relations. Kenya is leveraging on the Expo in Osaka 2025 to enhance its chances to boost exports. It's also trying to leverage on the touch points like sports, tourism, culture, and etc. to boost export markets to its products. And that actually happened yesterday in the events that Kenya this week include Kenya Diaspora Dinner that happened on Saturday, and the marathon that happened on that's on Sunday yesterday. So we are leaving you with that, with Mike giving us that report from Osaka, Japan, on again how to make Kenya great. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the aspect of the church. Where is the voice of the church in as far as this is concerned? Is the church still the voice of reason? The Archbishop, that is Bishop Jonathan Kabiru Kariuki, the third Archbishop ICK Diocese of Nairobi, will be here with me on set. Let's take a break with Mike from Osaka, Japan.
Indeed, one of the key highlights of the expo here in Japan, the event that signaled Kenya Week, included a kickoff, which was dubbed Kenya Diaspora Networking Dinner, which was graced by government officials, including CS Lee Kenyanjui, where Kenyans living in Japan, together with students, investors, and stakeholders, came together to find or to deliberate on modalities or ways that they can leverage the markets here in Japan and East Asia. And one of the things that came up was having direct flights, challenges like the cost of freight, the cost of production. They deliberated on it. I was in that dinner and I compiled the following report.
At the heart of Osaka International Convention Center, the spirit of Kenya shone brightly as Kenya Week at Expo 2025 officially began. The Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, KEPROBA, hosted a diaspora networking dinner, bringing together Kenyan professionals, entrepreneurs, students, and community leaders living in Japan. The event aimed to unite Kenyans abroad under one purpose, leveraging diaspora potential to fuel Kenya's socio-economic growth. Among those in attendance were Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, who emphasized on how Kenya is leveraging on labor mobility agreements.
The government has started what we call a labor mobility program, which I'm sure you're aware. And we were just doing the numbers, in this year alone, we have about 400,000 Kenyans who have gone to work abroad. Now, that number, if you compare with previous numbers, you will realize that it's a huge number. I mean, the growth is exponential. And what that simply means is that if we continue this way, maybe in the next 3, 4, 5 years, the number of Kenyans who will be working abroad will be huge enough to impact the local economy.
Kenya's ambassador to Japan, Mr. Moi Lemoshira, and KEPROBA's top leadership, including CEO Floyd Mukabana. In her speech, Ms. Mukabana underscored the critical role of the diaspora in shaping Kenya's global image, pointing to opportunities in key sectors such as tourism, sports, and trade.
Kenyan exports has increased by 10.4% in 2024, reaching Kenya shillings 1.1 trillion, with top sectors being horticulture, tea, textiles and apparel, and coffee. We also are seeking partnerships to promote Kenya as a preferred destination for trade, investment and tourism. Your personal stories and networks can influence Japan travelers and even open niche tours. For example, we can start thinking about tea estate farm trips, cultural heritage, and among others. We can leverage on Japanese business networks built over the years to introduce Kenyan products into Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia, Australia, and Pacific, creating a regional export expansion base.
The dinner also featured presentations from institutions like the Kenya Tourism Board, Kenyatta International Convention Center, and others, highlighting the opportunities that Kenya portends for trade, investment, and travel. The fever pitch of the event included a thought-provoking panel titled From Personal Networks to National Gain, where panelists explored how Kenyans in Japan can help in expanding the country's export footprint through trade facilitation, cultural marketing, and strategic partnerships. As the night came to a close, there was only one collective action: that Kenyans in Japan must be ambassadors of Brand Kenya, promoting not just individual success, but national pride and prosperity.
Now, the second event that I witnessed here in Osaka, Japan, signaling Kenya's activities within the Kenya Week, was an event called Kenya Run at the Expo, where Japanese participants and Kenyan participants, together with Kenyan athletes, came together for a marathon that took place on Sunday morning. Here are the highlights of that event.
The mini marathon attracted participants from Japan and athletes from Kenya, as well as expo visitors. Some of the elite runners who graced and participated in the event included Lona Kiplagat, Abel Kirui, Dennis Kimeto, Vivian Cheriot, Sally Kipiegon, Edward Waweru, among others. Kenya is using such platforms to position itself as a destination for sports tourism, inviting international athletes to train in its famed high-altitude regions. Speaking at the event, the Cabinet Secretary at the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, Ali Kenyanjui, said that Kenya recognizes the potential of sports to contribute to social, economic and cultural development.
This recognition is reflected in the government's effort to promote sports, develop infrastructure and empower young people through the participation in sports. Kenya's foreign policy equally recognizes the sports diplomacy as an integral component under the cultural diplomacy pillar.
Alongside the marathon, the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency seized the moment to spotlight the flower activation event. As the event wrapped up, participants left not only with medals, but with a lasting impression of Kenya's dual strength in athletics and horticulture. The Kenya Week Expo Osaka continues through June 25th with business forums, cultural showcases and networking sessions, all aimed at enhancing ties between Kenya and Japan.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Mimi naitwa Vicente Ramos. Mimi ndio baba Katolo Konyo.
Sasa hata hiyo juu naweza keep change.
Ongezea hiyo that mbombo zai.
I'm not paying anything on top. Ngaja.
Mama, habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Nimekuletea hii.
Fungua hapa mimi natoka wewe.
Bana ongea. Ndio wajiri peke yake. Wewe nyuma. Ulima. Hii kitu itakagi uonyeshe watu tuko na pesa. Weka mara.
Hii nini?
Ehe. Hapo ni choo na ukimaliza ukumbuke kuflash.
Usithubutu kwenda huko.
Kwa nini?
Watu wanafungua chera huko, wanachapa watu vibaya sana.
Okay. All right. Welcome back. It's now time for us to continue the conversation. I mean, the question of church and politics in the country is something that we've been talking about for far too long, and we'll continue to talk about it because church is at the center of peace in every situation. Yesterday, Archbishop Philip Anyolo spoke. Anthony Moheria also gave the voice. And yesterday we also saw there was a prayer service at the All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi to commemorate and actually ahead of the planned Gen Z not protest per se, but the peaceful commemoration of 1 year since the Gen Z, over 60 people died last year on 25th of June. And I just want to talk about the space of the church in as far as this is concerned. State of the nation is the church still the voice of reason? Bishop Jonathan Kabiru Kariuki, who is the third bishop, ACK Diocese of Nairobi, is here with me on set. Bishop, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. So the question before we went on air, I asked a question. How is Kenya doing? Simple. How is Kenya? Yeah.
Thank you. Very happy to be here. As we look at our country at this particular time, I would say that Kenya and Kenyans are actually very alive to what is happening.
Yeah.
And I think at this era, there is a lot of communication from all quarters. Of course, these are the days that something happens here, and within a very short time, it is basically a Kenyan issue. It's not just a local issue, so to say. I think Kenya, at the moment, we are not very sure where we are. There is a lot of information, misinformation. Are we doing well? Are we doing poorly? So we are not at that level where we can be able to agree as a country that we are doing well or we are not doing well. So there are so many voices that are coming at this particular time. There is no concentration where we can be able to say we are now at this level in as far as probably our socioeconomic well-being is concerned. At the same time, we find that there is a lot of mistrust among people. There is mistrust among leadership. There is mistrust among Kenyans trusting their leaders.
Yeah.
There is mistrust among Kenyans themselves. And so there is that kind of division in terms of where we are. But from my perspective, I see Kenya at that moment where it is that moment that actually we need now to say which direction. We are at the crossroads.
Yeah.
We can make it or break it. So it is now that opportunity for us as Kenyans to sit again and basically focus and say this is a direction that we need to take and we'll be able to move.
Does it really worry you that you've spoken about trust deficit amongst Kenyans, either from Kenyans, between Kenyans and leaders, Kenyans and even the church, Kenyans amongst themselves, that there is that sense of trust deficit? Does it really worry you, Bishop?
Yes, definitely it worries me a lot. It must worry the church at the end of the day, because trust is a very important component in any society. Because when there is no trust, even in any relationship, then you cannot be able to move forward. Because what happens is that there will be a lot of conflict, there will be a lot of misunderstanding between people.
Yeah.
People will be fighting each other without knowing that they're actually fighting each other. And of course, when there is no trust, even development does not happen, because you are looking at me and I'm looking at you. We are actually doing a mouse and cat chase. That is what will definitely be happening.
Tom and Jerry.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that is what ends up happening. So you are just there waiting, when am I going to be hit? You are also there, when am I going to be hit? That is where the political class is at this particular time. Every other politician is looking at the other with that mistrust. What are you planning against me? The societies are also at that level. Communities at the same time. That is how we get ourselves into ethnic feeling that that is my safe space. These are the people who I can trust. I don't want people around me who do not come from my ethnic background, because I don't trust that other community and all that. So trust is actually the backbone of any organization. It is the backbone of any relations, for that matter. And for us to build the nation, we need first and foremost basically to build back the trust, that we can be able to trust the president, we can be able to trust our members of parliament, and trust those at the county level and everyone. And communities can also trust each other, and Kenyans can be able to trust each other.
You know, you're talking about that because when you look at the entire spectrum, church also plays a very key role on civic engagement, because now when there is a lot of, there's a mistrust, then that's now where you step in, civic education.
Yes.
You can speak about that.
Yes, yes, exactly. If there is any organization within the society, and especially Kenya at this particular time, that has a great opportunity, is basically the church. I want you to imagine of how many people went to church yesterday. In the course of the week, we have midweek services. We have gatherings that are actually church-oriented. And you know, in this country, almost every other gathering will actually attract the attention of the church, or it will have some church orientation or background for that matter. So the church has that big role in terms of civic education, helping the societies to appreciate who they are, educating them on their rights, and basically ensuring that it is able to help the members of the society to make the right decision. The church is actually the conscience of the society. We are the people who brings that at the end of the day. We are the ones who are able to bring sanity, so that people, when they are making decisions that they need to make, they can actually be informed decision even going forward. Yeah. We are also there to remind the readers about their law, and why were they elected in the first place? What do they promise the people that elected them? Because everybody goes to the office, especially the elective positions, not from anywhere else. It is because the person was able to convince the electorate that I'll be able to deliver here and there. So the church remains the educator of the people. Okay. We enable the society. We help the members of the society basically to make decisions that are actually right, and to be conscious even as they go forward. Thank you. And also to help the communities coming together and making the right decisions.
Let's take a quick break. I still want to circle back, and I want to talk about the aspect of political mobilization and the platform that you give Kenyans for their voices to be heard on a safe space. I'll talk about that, but right about now, let's cross over to Karen, where the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki, is meeting all the IEBC commissioners in that forum. That is the Deputy President speaking. Let's listen in.
Between the governors and the controller of budget, which is a new office under this current constitution, and this ministry versus I don't know who, these are very minor things. We have done very well. We are already undertaking some concurrent functions seamlessly. In health, we have the community health volunteers or promoters program. We have the Taifa Care program, which we are rolling out without much quarrels, and I must commend the governors. You know, you'd have expected, oh, this is devolved, I don't know what. But there are certain things which only the shared national infrastructure of the state can stop the counties, not because we want to claw back on their function, to make sure it succeeds. That's why, for example, the equipment program, we are not saying counties cannot do their own equipment, but national government, because of its muscle, which is the muscle for the state, is not muscle for itself, it's muscle for the whole nation. You use it to ensure that we make sure there is equipment for counties, even if it means putting in place a framework that ensures that no county is left behind in terms of equipment, other than leaving each county to just look for its own equipment. Some counties will succeed, others may not succeed, others will succeed earlier than others, and therefore, to avoid this, you have programs like the equipment program and other programs we are doing. Look at Taifa Care, for example. The political fight back and pushback against universal health care is real and profound. It's not just a Kenyan issue. Even developed countries have struggled to implement a universal social health program, and they have faced a lot of resistance from capitalists. President Obama tried it in 2016 with Obamacare. He was fought so viciously. They ended up being in court, just like our own program was taken to court. The court, the Supreme Court, they ended up mutilating Obamacare. But again, so that I don't get out of topic, what the national government is doing, instead of leaving counties to fight this huge fight back alone, we in the national government are saying, let's take the flag. Okay? Let's take the flag. Because there are people here saying, oh, this thing cannot work. Oh, there's a problem here. So we take the political backlash and then allow universal health to be successful across the country. Enough people. We make sure there are drugs, we make sure there are equipment, but we are not running hospitals, which are supposed to be run by counties. So that is the spirit in which some of these things should be done. I see a lot of accusations about, I don't know who wants to claw back what function. Nobody has the capacity, even if they wanted, nobody has the capacity to roll back devolution. It is so strong, no one, no administration has the capacity to roll back even an inch of devolution. So I think we are okay. KIPES, I think County Aggregation Industrial Parks again, that partnership is working. We'll get some of the reports this morning. Markets under trade and industry, it's working, but there are some areas I have noted we need to improve, including consulting with county governments on the sites, for example. Although there will be handover eventually for the operations of those markets to county government, is only prudent, and it costs us nothing for the ministry as it implements to consult with governors on which is a better place, so that also the county we are seen to be traveling together, as opposed to I do my part and then when I finish you can come and continue, and so forth and so on. So I don't want to bother you with so many things, just to welcome you and ask you just to remain focused on the agenda of the day. If there are any things that will not be quickly resolved, we will pack them and allow track 2 interventions between now and the next IBEC. Disbursements, I think we've done well. Just a month or so left. We might not give the June money before the financial year ends. We roll it over. We have a few other things around. We need to make a decision on county government additional allocations act legislation, because it is delaying absorption of development partner funds. We need to look at how we can cut down on that legislative period, which is quite lengthy, and it is affecting service delivery by county governments, and the other things that will be raised. But please don't worry. When you see differences of opinion, it's just normal, and we are doing extremely well. For a 15-year-old devolved system, we are in a perfect situation, because even very old devolved systems are still struggling with relationships, with consultations, with mutual respect, and the tensions are all over between houses of parliament, between the center and the devolved units. So please, we are okay. Thank you very much. Let me ask my brother, Governor Abdullahi, to say 1 or 2 things, then we start the meeting. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. That is Deputy President Kithure Kindiki having
Thank you very much, Excellency.
An engagement with, I think that we have got Chair of the Council of Governors. We're listening in? All right. We'll get back there to Karen very shortly. But let's come back to the studio and continue with the discussion. Bishop, we were talking about the place of the church in making our country better, in as far as making the voice of the church to be heard. But let's come back and talk about the political mobilization aspect. When the church is required to play that key role of political mobilization, where would you say that the church have a stand or have stood on?
Thank you. Right from the beginning, the church must remain neutral at all times, so that at the end of the day, it does not incline to any political divide. And I think that is where the conversation should begin. Then how do we approach the issue of political mobilization as a church? As I mentioned earlier, the church has a responsibility in matters to do with civic education.
Yes.
At the moment, we can say that the country, the church, we are basically at a crossroad. What can be done, what should not be done? That is where we are. If today the church probably entertains this particular political mobilization or this other one, the church will definitely be branded that particular political divide.
Yeah.
So the church needs to begin by asking the question, how are we able to pray this law in a very neutral way, so that at the end of the day we will remain the conscience of the nation, and we can be able to speak to all political divides, because at the end of the day it is a church that should be at the center. We can be able to talk about this mobilization, we can be able to talk about this mobilization, and we can actually be able to bring our politicians together. So I think what we need to do is first and foremost to agree, what is this formula are we going to apply?
Yeah.
So that at the end of the day we can be able to say the platforms that would come in as far as political mobilization is concerned, one is a neutral ground, that I can be able to accommodate every divide, and I can be able to be a voice to reckon, and I still remain the authority in as far as that platform is actually concerned. But if I go to one side or to this other side, at the end of the day, I will not have the authority to speak with this other side. But the church must, in all ways, remain neutral, ensure that we can be able to be listened by whichever political divide we are talking about. That becomes important.
What about the aspect of providing that safe space for whoever? It doesn't matter from where we come from, or it doesn't matter. But do you think the church is playing that key role of giving that safe space for everybody to express themselves?
Yes, I believe that the church is giving that that space. And when we talk about that safe space, we see the platforms like the church. Yesterday I was at All Saints Cathedral. We had an opportunity to remember the Gen Zs, those who lost their lives during the demonstrations last year. To me, that was one of the safe spaces where we are able to have people coming together, expressing themselves in a safe place, having the opportunity for psychosocial support to the victims, having the opportunity to pray for them, and above all, to give them hope. It is also an opportunity where we can be able to speak that voice of reason, even to the nation, to the leaders that we have, to remind them that they have the responsibility in terms of ensuring that Kenya is safe, is secure, in terms of service delivery, in terms of fighting the ills that are within, in terms of ensuring that at the end of the day they remain accountable, they remain transparent. So this is a safe space where people are able to express themselves. And the church from the time of history has provided that safe space. As far as I remember, during the multi-party, when we were fighting for multi-party for this nation, the church was a big pillar for this nation.
You can remember all the big names.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
The trenches.
Yes, exactly. All Saints was used as a place where, after all is said and done, they would actually get themselves there, and they would feel they are safe in the church, and they would be able to express themselves. So the church is able to provide that safe space, not only to the political class, but even for the members of the society they are able to express themselves, and they are able to speak their mind out. And out of that, we may be able to change the perception and basically the leadership.
What about the aspect of moral guidance? About, is the church utilizing that, you know, making use of that process, moral guidance between, you know, Wanjiku and the government and the leaders? Are you taking that role seriously as a church?
I would say that church is taking that role seriously, because looking at where we are coming from and what the church has done in the days past. Yesterday, I was at St. Mark's Westlands here, one of our churches. And we were talking about being the children of God and carrying the identity of Christ wherever we are. And I was reminding the Christians that indeed we have the responsibility to represent Christ in our marketplace, in the spaces that are provided to us. That when people see us talking, they are actually able to see Christ in us. When people see what I'm doing in my place of work, people can be able to see Christ in us. I actually challenged them and I told them that your character, your identity in Christ should actually disturb any evil person around you. That actually people will feel uncomfortable in your place of work when you are out, because they know you will not condone any evil. You are morally upright, so to say. And I want to believe that probably across the country, we had that message. Every other church, it prayed that Lord. So the church still remains the conscience of the society. We have that obligation indeed to develop our moral standards in this nation. And there is no any other organization that is able to muscle and to bring people together. At the end of the day, every other day, it is actually the church. We still have that responsibility. My point is, and what I would struggle with, is in terms of how do we apply this to ourselves. That becomes critical. And I want to say that this nation will not be built by the corporate understanding of moral standards, but it is about individual thinking. We have to, the change has to begin from within ourselves, both in public and also in private. Some of the evils that we talk about in the society, they are actually not the responsibility of probably corporate, at the corporate level. It is not about the leaders, it is about the individuals. And I want us to go deeper and actually ask ourselves, individually as a Kenyan, how and where is our moral standards at this particular time? What are we doing and how are we able to exercise that uprightness in our marketplace, in the spaces that the Lord has given to us? How are we able and how are we behaving? Because it has to start with the individual, so that I get converted, we get converted, the country get converted. Out of that, we'll be able to move on in the right direction.
Bishop, that sounds like a challenge or criticism, or, you know, a challenge to the side of the church, because when you look at the aspect of there is a potential for manipulation, and that does not come only from the Mwananchi or Wanjiku, but from the political class.
Yes, I mentioned that as a church, we have to remain neutral, so that at the end of the day, we can be able to speak to everyone, and we can be able to have that moral authority. It is possible for the church to lose her moral authority in the society. It is possible, depending with how we behave, depending with how we handle things.
That creates division.
Yes, it can create division even among the church itself. It is possible, because at the end of the day, there is an expectation. There is a reducible minimum on how the church should conduct her activities. How does it address the issues that are affecting the country at the end of the day? So I would want to say that yes, there can be manipulation, and we have seen in the past that may have happened. But at the end of the day, it is for the society to remember what is the law of the church within ourselves. This is where the church remains, and this is where we need to refocus ourselves even going forward. So the church remains the custodian of the morals in the society, and those morals are not just for the Wajiko. It is actually to be applied across the board. The church must speak regardless of who, and the church must be brave enough, courageous enough to address the issues as they are, and basically to speak even to individuals as much as is possible. Where we need to address and to call people by their names, the church should have that authority. The church should be prepared basically to handle issues as they are. At the same time, I want to say this, that the church must also, in a very big way, invest in information gathering so that we are able to tell and we are able to handle issues as they are. And we can be able to say that we have the authority to say what we are saying. Because if the church speaks and then what the church is speaking is not the right stand or is not the right thing, we get ourselves into propaganda. And therefore we'll just become like any other politician. And so the politicians will say this, but for me, even if it is brought to my table, I would want to ask, what are the facts?
You need to filter it.
Yes, exactly. What is a fact? So you'll find sometimes the politicians say, Bishop, you are quiet. Why are you not saying about A, B, C, and D? But this is only information you have given from your angle as a politician. I want to filter that. I want my information so that when I stand and I go to the pulpit, I'll be able to say, this is what is happening. This is what the right position. And as a church, we can have that authority within ourselves.
Very well
that will be respected.
That brings the aspect of transparency and accountability, Bishop, because there are so many questions which are being asked about transparency and accountability when it comes to the church, and whenever they're having a playing field with the politicians. What do you make of that?
Now, in terms of accountability, you know, the politicians are darlings of the church. And politicians feel very safe in the church. Politicians feel that the place where I will have free airtime is actually the church. The place where I will not need to mobilize people. I will not need to invest in microphones, in the speakers and all those kind of a thing. It is actually the church. It is a funeral gatherings and all those. So the church will definitely, I mean, the politicians always look for the opportunity. I want to tell you that next year, 2026, 2027, the churches will be flocked with the politicians. For now, the numbers have gone down. But come as we approach the electioneering year, you can be sure we will have so many of them wanting the opportunity. Now, the issue to do with accountability is actually a responsibility, and to me, it is a list of what should be expected to any leader at any particular time. For us as a church, we have tried our level best to be very accountable. We ensure that actually whatever gets to our hands, we account for it and we give the feedback to the members to question what we have done. Now, me, I'm a church leader. For you as a national leader, for you as a county leader, for you at whatever level the God has given you the opportunity, what is wrong with being basically accountable, giving an account of what you have done and what you have not done? And people are able to understand that probably this way I was not able to do, and I was not able to manage, and all those kind of a thing. So I'm looking at the church in terms of the accountability, that the moment the politicians or whoever comes to the church, it is actually a platform to be reminded that you need to be accountable. To be accountable in the space that the Lord has given to you. You need to be accountable to the people who gave you the power, who gave you the opportunity to serve at different offices, at different levels at any particular time.
You know what, Bishop? Church across the world plays a very key role, and the voice that you have is even more powerful. The church can even call the president to order, and the president of a nation will just keep quiet and say, gentlemen and ladies, what are you saying? Can we have a word? But the question is, based on what you're talking about, is still the church the voice of reason in Kenya today?
Yes, I believe that the church is still the voice of reason in Kenya today, and it remains to be the voice of reason, not just because of who is the actor at this particular time. It is a voice of the people, not just about because I am the Bishop of Nairobi. It remains to be the voice for who Christ designed the church to be, right from the beginning. And we see the character of Jesus and how he actually did all that he was able to do for the 3 years during his ministry. He was the voice of the voiceless. He actually called, even held by name. He actually addressed the evils of the day. He was able to demonstrate that. So I want us first and foremost to remember and to accept that the church, in being the voice, the conscience of the people, is not just about the actor, not about the bishop, not about the pastors and whoever is there. It is about the mandate of the church. And we must see the church beyond the bishop. We must see the church beyond the pastor. But the mandate of the church, as it were, it is very clear. The voice of the people, the voice of the voiceless, that remains as it were. And as you have said, across the world, the church has actually prayed that Lord. Now, in our country, the church has played a very key role all along, from the time immemorial. We remember too well. And many people have actually lost even their life when defending the rights of Kenyans. Many religious leaders have actually found themselves in a lot of problems across the day. As we speak today, I'm very happy to see many bishops speaking. Yesterday we had Archbishop Muheria speaking. Archbishop Anyoro spoke. Our archbishops has been on it, or the Sapit has been speaking and giving the guidance and talking about the state of the nation. They've been able to address the issues that are there. They are able to guide the Kenyans in terms of which direction are we able to take. They have been able to remind the readers in terms of their responsibilities, in terms of where they need to work on, in terms of what need to be done here and there. They have reminded the readers in terms of the ills that are actually affecting the country. Over this week, as we get to the memorials for the Gen Zs, we are still speaking and saying that we must have peace at this particular time, and the police need to handle their responsibility, but at the end of the day, nobody should lose their lives. They should be there to be protected. Those who are going for the demonstration, again, they have to make sure that it is peaceful demonstration. They have to identify themselves from goons so that they are not infiltrated, and those demonstrations also become a safe place even to express ourselves. So the church still is making that voice, and the question is, are our readers willing to listen to that voice? And as I said in the beginning, the society itself, are they willing to listen to that voice? Because sometimes the societies can actually turn and think that the people to listen to is actually maybe politicians, it is maybe the models and all those kind of a thing. So it is us as a country to remember what church has done, what church can do, what church is doing, and therefore listen to the voice of the church even going forward.
Listen to the voice of the church even moving forward. Yes. As you come to an end, there is that aspect of seeking endorsements. Church playing a key role in seeking endorsements. When it comes to politicians, often seek blessings and endorsements from church leaders. Of course, I know you cannot segregate and say, do not come. You provide that equal platform for everyone. So what are we looking at moving forward? We are heading towards 2027 election. And let me also pick your voice that right now the numbers have reduced, and that they are also tactical about their moves. So what are we looking at? Because even in the past, the church also spoke out strongly about church and politics, more so playing political roles in churches. Are we seeing this being your stand even moving forward?
I would want to say this, that number one, politicians are members of our churches. And they play a key role as members of the church. That is the beginning. Number two, the politicians are members of our society. And they expect that support from the church by itself. There are those who come forward and say, then I hear God calling me to be the president of this nation, to be a member of parliament, to be a governor, to be a senator, and all that. As I said, number one, the church has the law to do the civic education. And this civic education, where we are now, must not just to be the society, but even the leaders themselves, those who are seeking those opportunities. I think it is now time that the church start having a program, even for them. You want to be a member of parliament. You have said this is what you are going to do. And therefore, what are we expecting for us as a church? If God gives you this opportunity, this is how we expect you to behave.
Yeah.
So that the politicians maybe do not just walk into the church, tell the pastor, pray for me, and then they walk out. I think we need, because this is a platform that is being used, that we need now to have accountability.
Yes.
And that becomes important for us all. That at the end of the day, we can be able to say we played a part in you becoming A, B, C, and D. We gave you the platform here. You spoke to these people and you told them you'll be able to do A, B, C, and D.
Yes.
So for me as a church leader, you have to be accountable to me as well. Have you been able to do that? So I think the church will still have the Lord to pray. We cannot say politicians don't come for the platform in the church, but I think that platform must be managed differently.
Thank you.
Going forward.
I want us to do something, again, the same way I did with my earlier guests who came on the show. You're going to take at camera 2, and again, how do we make our country even greater? All right, we have a great nation, but how do we make it greater moving forward? In 1 minute, that is your camera. Go.
Thank you. Definitely, we have a great opportunity to make our country great. And we are Kenyans by God's will. And we have the responsibility, each one of us. And that begins my way of how to make this Kenya great. It is to take self-responsibility, to be driven by our conscience more than any other conscience. That even if I hear any other voice from wherever, I can be able to ask myself, which is the right voice going forward. I have seen people saying I was called from above and all that. You have to be called first and foremost from inside. You are conscious. And to remember that we have a judge of us all, and that is God. We have the responsibility as a nation, each one of us, to build this nation. The space that God has given to us, we have that opportunity. Let us not leave our country to be a country of politics in and out, and to feel like it is only the politicians who have our future. Our future is greater than 2027 elections. Our future is greater than just thinking about who will be our next leader in whichever level. It is our responsibility at the level that we are in. The change must begin with us. The change must begin from where you are. As we think about the city of Nairobi and what has happened in the recent past, the much we may look up to the governor and everyone else, we are reminded clearly that it is our responsibility to keep peace, to keep this city clean, to ensure that we are able to follow. And out of that, we'll be able to hold accountable our leaders as well. When we have done our part, everybody is doing his part, we can ask that person who is not doing their part, why are you not playing your part? And you have that moral authority as a Kenyans to move forward.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. That's a powerful way to wrap up that conversation. And of course, we've been talking about, is the church still the voice of reason? A lot has happened in the country. Of course, we've been having that discussion with Bishop Jonathan Kabiru Kariuki, the 3rd Bishop, ACK Diocese of Nairobi. Thank you so much for joining us on the set. But before I let you go, Vivian, now that we have got Bishop here, and Vivian is talking about love. Bishop, again, before I let you go, Vivian is talking about mambo ya mapenzi. Is love enough to keep a marriage or a relationship? Let me start with you. Vivian, is this the way to go?
Yes, that is actually the
Very
conversation that we are having today.
Very
and I would
good.
love
So,
to
Bishop,
hear what the Bishop has to say.
Is love enough? Kuweka hii ndoa ikae vizuri. Give me your one before I let you go.
All right. Thank you, Vivian. A good question coming from you about love.
It's from me.
Oh, not from Vivian. All right,
go ahead.
Sawa.
All right.
Now, I want to say that yes, it is true that love is able to keep marriage, and it is love that is actually able to overcome and to overlook all shortcomings in a person.
Yes.
So it is love that will be able to overlook maybe the challenges, the shortcomings of the other person.
Na mapenzi ikiisha?
Mapenzi inahitaji kulimiwa. Make sure that there is there is something that is burning,
you start calling each other nani, hey, wait, kuja, hey.
Hapana, usifanye hivyo. So, you know, the problem with people is that sometimes they begin this way, but they go dropping.
Yes.
So if you are taking mpendwa wako for coffee every evening, you need to keep on. Don't say now ameingia box.
You don't lower the standard.
No, don't lower the standard.
Vivian, have you heard?
That is where people go wrong.
Okay.
So keep the standards moving, and the love will continue burning.
Yes.
But when you did this, the other person will actually think, so you are taking me for coffee because you just wanted to have me. But if you keep the coffee game going on, then the love will continue to flourish, and people will be able to carry on.
Vivian.
So love is able to overlook the wallet. Out of love, you are able to overlook the weaknesses of your partner. Out of love, you not think what they have not provided. You'll be able to have, and love actually brings about hope, even for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
Vivian, umesikia hiyo maneno? Vivian overlooks your wallet.
I've actually heard what the bishop has to say concerning that.
Yes.
And I'm glad that he's for the idea that love actually can keep a marriage, and love actually can keep a long-lasting and healthy relationship. But as he was saying that, one of my panelists right here was like, love is just an emotion. So we're going to be getting into that conversation. That is our question for today: is love enough to sustain a long-lasting relationship? We're going to be getting into that immediately after the break, so stay with us.
Nineteen nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's...
This unique competition, featuring the best locally based players from across the continent, definitely has something for everyone. Just bring your A game as you let it flow, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Naitwa Vicente Ramos. Mimi ndio baba Katolo Konyo.
Sasa hata hiyo juu naweza keep change.
Ongezea hiyo that mbombo za hii.
I'm not paying anything on top. Ngaja.
Mama, habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Nimekuletea hiyo.
Fungua hapa, mimi natoka wewe.
Bana onje. Ndio wajiri peke yake. Wewe nyuma. Ulima. Hii kitu itakagi uonyeshe watu tuko na pesa. Weka mara.
Hii nini?
Hapo ni choo, na ukimaliza ukumbuke kuflash.
Usithubutu kwenda huko.
Kwa nini?
Watu wanafungua chera huko, wanachapa watu vibaya sana.
Can she even speak?
Definitely she'll speak. Just give her some time with her.
This is my girlfriend. She's called Naz.
Okay.
Mom.
Unafaa uanze kwenda kanisa na uende ufanye nini?
Get saved.
Yes, you get saved.
Oh, you two know each other?
She was the one who asked me to come.
Unaenda wapi? Just go, don't mommy, go and sit there. Hata kwa nyumba zenyewe unataka kwenda?
All right, and we are back. Thank you for staying with us. I'm sure you have heard the saying that love conquers all, or another one that says all that we need is love. So our conversation is on exactly that. That is love. But we are posing a question to you and we're asking you, is love enough to sustain a relationship? You can get to converse with us. The number is 0716-103-301, 0716-103-301. You can send us a WhatsApp message on what your thoughts are on this particular matter that we are talking about. I want to pose this question to our guests. We have 3 guests in studio with us. On my far right, we have Nelly Mutai, who's a multimedia creative and actress. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And then we also have Anthony Gaido. Anthony is a psychologist, mentor, and also a mental health champion. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
And we have Patrick Maina, who's a trainer, a mentor, and the CEO Pro Mentors Africa. Welcome to the program. All right, so is love enough to sustain a relationship?
Vivian, first we might define all criteria of love, but we must look, what is the content of love? What is the original ideology of love? Because love is key. Even to the good books, love is key. It's all about love. But within the social analysis, it have distorted the way we perceive love, the way we interpret love. And I love this topic because that's what people are interpreting. The reality is not what was the original concept of the love. So love is key. We like it, we go heaven, we go where, love is key. But now people have put some other vipengele zingine ambaye now they are defining love and attaching it to be this. But love sustain relationship.
It can.
It must.
It does.
It must sustain relationship. Because when that one lack, then itakuwa ni stories zingine. Itakuwa mazee, chapa, itakuwa ni hivi, itakuwa pana, iliisha. Love haiwezi isha, itaishaje? How now? Ya God haijaisha, mbona yetu ishe? So love must sustain relationship.
I love that.
But the reality is different. Yeah.
All right. Anthony, you are the one who just mentioned that love is an emotion.
Yes.
So from your point of view, does love sustain a relationship? Is it enough?
Love is enough, but love isn't the only thing. When I said love is an emotion, love is based from now, say you are attracted. Say if I meet someone today, we could base it from a point of romantic relationship, friendship, you know. When you're attracted to someone, you develop feelings for them. When the feelings are validated, when you continue to have conversations with this person, when you trust this person, when you support each other, now love comes in. You see, it's not the love that started, it's the validation, it's the communication, it's the consistency. It's saying that you know that now we are doing this, we are trying to get to know each other, to see whether we have shared values and goals, to see whether we are compatible enough to even maintain either this friendship or this marriage or this dating. You see? So it comes in when it's validated. It's not enough to sustain a relationship, but when there is consistency, when there is communication, when there is trust, when you guys have shared values and goals, when you guys are actually committing to working on this particular relationship for it to bear fruits, then now love comes in naturally. Yes.
All right. Nelly, what's your point of view?
I feel like love is a good foundation in a relationship. But for me, love is not everything. Because I feel like when you start the relationship, you know, First of all, you start the relationship because you're in love with that person, you love that person. You're in the honeymoon phase, you know, you people are in love. But in a long-term relationship, in a long-term marriage, these things will change over time. Kutafika wakati wenye love inaweza kuwa ikosekane, but because you are committed to this person, you choose to be with this person every day. Ndapenda example lingine, mkate ni mtamu, lakini ni mtamu zaidi ukiwa na siagi, ukiwa na jam, ukiwa na peanut butter. Lakini bado mkate ni mtamu. Yeah.
All right, very well explained, very well explained. So, why do you feel it's not enough? Mbona lazima iongezewe hii, iongezewe kile kingine?
Because love si kila kitu. Unajua, for a relationship to be sustained, kuna so many aspects. I think we've had this conversation before. Like lazima mkuwe na commitment, mkuwe na communication, you know, values align. Like there are so many things. So I feel like love is just one aspect. It's not the entire thing. It's just one aspect. Na kuna wakati inaweza kosekana, na kuna wakati inaweza kuwa pia. So it's just one aspect of the entire thing.
So when love is not there, can the relationship still sustain itself? Or when love is gone, then the relationship now can't be able to be sustained?
We're not saying love cannot be there. Love, in order for you guys to actually, if something you guys are together, there has to be how you feel about this person. You can't say that there is one point because someone has or your partner has done A, B, C, D to you that the love stops. Love can never stop. Now what we are trying to say is there are components that actually make the love to become the love as it is. Like if you have trust, if there is communication, if there is consistency, if you are being validated, if you are being appreciated, if you are actually working towards now building that love to a different level. Hakuna siku itafika useme ati sasa mimi na partner wangu, mimi na rafiki yangu, hakuna love, hakuna upendo. Upendo itakuwa is everything.
We've had people say, you know, we were just not the spark was no longer there, the love was gone.
They're looking at it from a different perspective. Maybe they're saying that maybe juu huyu mtu imefika mahali kama maybe alikuwa anampenda juu ya finances. Nowadays in this generation, in this generation kuna kitu inaitwa transactional relationship. Unapenda mtu juu yako na kitu. Unapenda mtu juu yako na relationship. Ladies are liking men because they are good in bed. Then how is that love? Yes.
Well, but that is also important.
That's a story for another day.
I love how you validate. I want to tell you, every person is a selfish person. And every person, what is killing us is the four aspects of life. Perception, assumption, prejudice, and stereotype. These people are like this person, she's beautiful. It's all about that beauty. So love yes fade. Haiwezi fade. If it was there, it was there. Ikuwa hizi vitu zingine zilikuwa zizi vipengele zili contribute ya hii love. Wakati kipengele itaisha, then love inaisha. Because the intention, the genesis of that friendship was not real love. It was because you're driving, it's because you're educated, because hata wazazi wetu wako na ufala fulani because wanasema wewe unaolewaje na mtu hajasoma. So they want to tell me that the person to love anafaa kuwa amesoma. So there is a condition. So the moment tunaleta hizo vipengele zinaleta condition in our life, and that's why towards the end, that's why we say sio love peke yake, lazima hizi vipengele. Now it have been contributed by the society. Sisi wote. I used to tell people when I was working in Nairobi University, if I pass there na kagari na kanachuna and you tell a lady hi, I go, please give me a break. Ukienda mguu na umeparara viatu. Lakini kuwa na kagari hivi, alafu mwambie babe too high, anaweza kosa kujibu lakini anasema ile. Different thing. If ukienda a certain place of vijana kujibamba, kuna pahali utaenda utakuta watu because jamaa anaweza nipeleka hii place. Then these are unalitabaka majina, mademu analitabaka majina, jamaa ni hanky, ni sijui nani, is everything. Lakini wakati muunde itaisha hivi. Then we develop some other words. Wanaume sijui ni nini, ni nini, wanawake sijui ni nini, wanataka tu pesa yangu. Before you could not see that. So love, hizi vipengele my dear, is what we need to discuss. Hizi vipengele ndio shida.
So love in the form that it was supposed to be, in what that it was intended to be in the first place, can actually sustain a relationship very well.
Na yezi fade.
All right. What else helps a relationship you know, remain healthy and long term.
Sasa hizi ndizo vipengele. How we communicate. Hata communication si tu nipige simu.
Kweli.
People have forgotten even concept that what you call open-ended and close-ended communication.
Yep.
Umedress poa, hizi viatu niko poa na everything. Lakini it's not my swag. Mazee hizi viatu ni gani hizi umevaa leo? Anaweza kuambia hizi viatu ni poa lakini si leo juu tunaenda pale fulani. Si unaweza vaa zile zingine. The same statement.
Exactly.
So what we are lacking is knowledge based on communication. How are we communicating? Because love need a unique way of communication.
Yep.
Si ile ya boss na nini? A very unique way. Unaweza niambia utaki hii shirt nimevaa. Lakini the way you tell me matters a lot. So what is the key problem of love in this world is communication. And you look verbal and non-verbal communication. Nimekuona tu hivi, I fallen in love. You fall, you'll wake up. Because ni ile kitu uliona. After that, in a beat. Exactly.
So you're demystifying love at first sight. There's nothing like love at first sight.
How do you love someone at first sight?
Really? Nelly, do you think there's love at first sight?
Let me tell you something. You see, I normally have this concept when I talk about love at first sight. When you meet someone today, you are attracted to them.
Yes.
You don't, that doesn't mean necessarily you love them.
Kuna kitu imekubamba.
Kuna kitu imekubamba. For example, it's you, Vivian.
But don't you think that spark
what is love?
grows to love?
Yeah, it's that
now,
foundation.
you see, the moment you see, let me say this. Ukishakuwa attracted, for example, if I'm attracted to Vivian with the shoes, now I engage Vivian more to get to understand and get to know her on a more personal level. You see, the moment now the attraction is validated, now comes the love. But you can't tell me umeona leo mtu leo unasema Vivian njoo napenda viatu zako na kupenda si tuingie kwa relationship. Alafu hiyo siku na hiyo kiatu kikosa kuvaa, so hata kuniambia atakuwa anavaa hiyo kiatu kila siku hata akienda kwa kitanda.
Hapana, ilikuwa assignment ya kuvaa hiyo kiatu.
Exactly.
Na hata wewe uipendi. Na hiyo ndio nilinoki.
Love at first sight is something that we should erase. Ati unapenda mtu juu umemuona, unampendea nini? Is there something in particular you love about them? And you cannot get to tell that. Ati unapata kuna watu in this generation anapata dem. Alafu anamwambia manzeni aje mimi nimekupenda. Alafu unamuuliza realistically umenipendea nini? Manze vile wewe ubonga. Mimi ubongaje? Hata hatujakaa na wewe ndio ujue vile mimi ubonga.
But now it shows vile wewe ubonga. Kwa hivyo siku ile utabonga hivyo,
love inapotea. All right. Very, very, very interesting conversation, and we are welcoming you to also join into the conversation. The number is 0716-103-301. 0716-103-301. You can send in your WhatsApp messages, and when you send your message, also remember to tell us your name and where you're watching us from. Our lines are open as well. You can be able to call in live and just get to give us your point of view. Now, Nelly, they've said there's nothing like love at first sight. It's something you see and you love that thing, but it's not the person. You may like her eyes, you may like how she looks, you may like, you know, several things, but it's not really love at first sight. As ladies, I think we're the ones who are usually over the moon with love at first sight and whatnot. So for you, do you believe there's something like love at first sight?
For me, there is love at first sight. When you see someone, when you feel the spark, you feel that feeling. For me, I think love grows. It's not something it's just like instant, we're in love. I've known you, this is what you like, now I'm in love with you. I feel like love grows. Because there are these situations where you meet someone, like you meet Anthony, maybe you guys have worked together for a year, then maybe in 2 years' time, you guys come get into a relationship. This other time you did not see him, you know, like a love interest. But at another time, you come and you fall in love with this person. So it's the same way. You look at someone, you get the feeling, then you grow. You know, like a seed, you water it, it grows. So I've seen you, you know, what I see, I like. I get to know you. We go on dates. I love you.
So feeling in love?
Cindy, or feeling in love. Love is a feeling for me. Love is a feeling, an emotion.
But love is an emotion.
Yeah, that's it
is an emotion.
Love is an emotion.
Yes.
And a feeling, bado.
Yeah.
A feeling and emotion.
What's the difference between a feeling and emotion?
Yes.
Sijui najiuliza hata mimi nina ufala. Najiuliza because feeling umeifeel tu. Nimekuona tu. Kweli. And that's why me si mtu wa church sana. Lakini ukiangalia Genesis 2:18 talk about a friendship.
Yep.
Because for me, nimekuona hivi and I see kuna personality imenibamba ndani yako. Ile personality imenibamba ndani yako, tutaanza conversation pole pole. And that's why Genesis inasema Buddha manzi na dame kwanza Charlie alikuwa amezaliwa kwanza, alafu kaletwa wanyama na angependa hao wanyama. Alafu hiyo book, the good book inasema not even one of them was a suitable companion. As we work, we become companions. And as we were working, ama nimekuona leo, we become friends and everything. Then from there, some other things start sparkling in my mind. Hey, by the way, tunaweza hivi, by the way, kuna character, temperament inaanza kunibamba. Na kuna temperament zitanibamba Vivian, na lakini sitakuoa.
Kweli.
Zimenibamba mob. Na true as workplace, I love you. But sio love ile sasa ya vijana ile ya ndoa. You get? So love is a standard thing. So ya ndoa inaanzanga, hey, by the way inaanza. So ndio hizo inaanza ku provoke the subconscious mind. Hey, huyu dem naweza kana huyu dem tunaweza ishi na yeye. Because wakati umeingia tu pale unaanza kuishi una realize mimi ngorota. Lakini uliona appearance, wewe ndio niaje sasa? How do I sleep with this guy? Alafu you start sharing with your friends, your social capitals, wale mko nao.
I'll have to cut you short a bit. We have our first caller. Let's listen in. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Talk to us. Morning.
Morning to you.
Go ahead. We can hear you. What's your comment on this conversation? What una feel is love enough to sustain a relationship? Go on, Charles. We can hear you. Hello, are you still on the line?
Can you allow me to speak Swahili ndio Wakenya wasikie?
Ongea tu Kiswahili, haina neno.
By the name, mimi Senior Sergeant Charles Amimo. Thank you. Mimi nimefurahia sana hii conversation naona hapa kwa TV. Love iko hata kwa kuangaliana tu.
Yes, Charles?
Sasa leo ndio hata hiyo emergency wazee kama mimi mmefundisha kitu ya maana sana ndio familia waendelee.
Charles, what is your comment on it?
So, madam, kama utaendelea kuleta conversation kama hii ndio sasa kujenga hii.
Aya, sawa Charles, asante sana kwa muda wako.
Ile kitu mimi nasema
Okay, I guess we can just continue with the conversation. Thank you so much, Charles, for calling us. Yeah, anasema tukikuwa na mada kama hizi tunatengeneza nchi. Tunatengeneza nchi. Yeah.
Anatupa pongezi.
Yeah, it's a key.
All right, there's also some messages that have come in. Let me read them and then we get back to the conversation. Someone is saying, love alone is not enough. A strong relationship also needs trust, effort, communication, and mutual respect. That is Shamima from Nairobi. Someone is saying, swipe right or settle down, watching from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, alafu anacheka. Someone else says, I love the conversation. That is Emmanuel from Mrema, Dar es Salaam. All right, thank you so much. Someone else also, I think most of them are really just excited for the conversation. This one says, I like the program and the topic. It's really, really educational. And that is a Calm chapter from Kwale town. Now, my other question is, can two people be in love and not be compatible?
Possible. It's very possible. You see, even as we touch on that, there's something she said and really got me thinking, and it's something we need to well, ina happen in reality kwa ground, lakini kuna kitu nafaa tuseme. She has mentioned about when people, you get to love each other, ndio mnajua kama mtaoana, mnaweza kata 2 years. My point is, let me put it in this perspective. In family and marriage counseling, there's a triangle I want to define it. Side moja kuna passion, huko juu kuna intimacy, na huko chini kuna commitment. Sawa? Passion is the attraction.
Yeah.
When you like someone or you're attracted to them. Intimacy, now the passion ndio iweze kuwa validated, then now get to know this person. Now that is when now you develop an intimate relationship where you get to know whether you guys are even compatible enough. Huyu mtu ni mtu mwenye tuna share values na goals, ama kidogo atushare values na goals. Alafu unaangalia mtu, unajua, do I need to compromise on this person? Kuna vitu nafaa kucompromise ndo nisiende kwa marriage kuwe red flag, ni tena nianze kusumbuka tena na some issues. Now you see, between intimacy and commitment is now whereby after intimacy sasa mshajuana, mmejua huyu mtu mnashare values nzuri na goals, huyu mtu ni mtu compatible. Now that is when you now get to now say, okay, let me take this relationship, ama let me take this dating on another level. And another key point to also remember in the intimacy is that when you guys are in that stage of intimacy,
I'll ask you to hold that thought.
Okay.
Sorry for cutting you short. We have Mugambi calling us all the way from Meru. Mugambi, morning. Habari yako habari asubuhi leo?
Salama kabisa.
Aya, tuongeleshe, tueleze what's your topic on the conversation we're having. What's your comment rather? Sorry.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, tunakusikia Mugambi. What's your comment?
Nataka kuchangia hivi. Mapenzi bila mikakati haiwezi kuwa. Because haisi unaona mademu wengi after introduction, without introduction, they can't. Basi unaona mtu anakwambia I'm from ne, I work as this. Akisikia yeye uko chini ya klasi yake, anatoroka. So nataka kusema, siku hizi love lazima ikuwe na mikakati mingi. Kwanza usiangalie mtu uzito wake, usiangalie mtu urembo yake, because unaona kama saa hii ukipenda mtu juu ni msichana, una expect ya kuletea watoto kwa hii dunia, unaona hata limeni kuwa msichana. So ni lazima uangalie vitu vingi kando kando ili ujue mwelekeo wako ni upi. Usinje kuona mtu amekuwa mama watoto tena uanze kumchukia. So ni lazima you have to be very much careful about who unaingia kwa nani na kwa sababu gani. Unajua kuna majira. Usiende kuchukua msichana wenyewe ni mlembo, ukuja kusahau after 9 months anakuwa kuwa mama watoto.
Kwa hivyo mapenzi peke yake haitoshi, lazima kuwe kuna mapenzi peke yake haitoshi, lazima kuwe kuna mambo mengine ambayo mtu anazingatia.
Dada yangu, usipozingatia mambo mingi kwa masuala ya mapenzi, utaishi kuoa ama kuolewa. Because kuna vitu change. Mimi naambianga watu you have to be very much careful about the time. Unajua mtu uchange. Hiyo mtu akichange utampenda hiyo wakati ama utamwachanisha ukatafuta wengine. And if you are ready to build a generation, you have to understand all those things accordingly. Ujue you are dating a lady whereby after 9 months she is becoming a mother. Na hakuna mtu ana muhimu kwa hiyo vitu mbili. Mama ako na muhimu, watoto wako na muhimu. Na umuhimu wake. Hiyo ndio ningechangia kwa asubuhi ya leo.
Asante sana Mugambi, asante sana, tunashukuru. Now there are some more messages that are coming in. Allow me to read some of them. So I'm saying, hi, I'm Rogers from Amraba in Nandi. Trust is also additional to the love to make two loving people get satisfied. So it's not love enough, you have to add in trust as well. Another message, my name is Werekwa Owire, watching from Suba. When it comes to the issue of love, it's only men who can love. It's only men who can love. Proven scientifically, there are very many research articles on this. So love alone cannot maintain a relationship when only one gender is the one that loves. So according to this one, men are the only ones who love. We'll get into that. The other one is saying this is a profound topic. Love is essential and foundational in any relationship, yet it requires more than just feelings to endure. Consider the analogy of how Christ loved the church. He gave his life for the church. This love transcends emotion, embodying a choice and commitment to one another. We have another caller. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Bernard, tafadhali mute your television ndo tuweze kukupata. Morning.
Good morning.
Alright, tuongeleshe.
I'm Pastor Ben Doriet. Mkayole.
Yes, tueleze mchango wako kwa discussion yetu leo ni gani?
Okay, nataka I think we are discussing now. It is love internal dimension.
Alright, we can't really get Bernard, but there's someone who has brought up something else. This one has said that only a man can love. Only one gender can love.
Unajua, that's biblical. But things have changed.
Yep.
And the Bible was written, the good books were written based on that time, based on the social analysis of that time. There's so many things they have talked about.
Yep.
I don't disagree because it's written. But nowadays, at least that way we need to understand each other. We need to have hizo vipengele. Even what we need, and I agree with all these people, is 4 principles. 1, learn to know. Before you start saying, I've fallen in love, you need learn to know. Learn to know this person. And it can only be one day. That's why in my area, you can be 1 year and you marry. You can be 10 years and muta marry.
Clearly, that's true.
So the openness of knowing you matters a lot.
Okay.
The element of knowing what to do and everything. The element of knowing that you will age one day. Number 2, after learning to know, then I can do an action. So learn to do.
Yep.
After doing that action, then we can now to get to the concept of learn to live together. I tell people, live together like brothers and sisters or perish together like fools. And that's why we have people divorcing and everything. That's how, because I did not take time to learn how you behave.
Okay. Unfortunately, we'll have to cut the conversation. We'll need to finish it off right now. Time has really not been on our side today, but this is definitely a conversation that needs to be continued. So probably we can pick it up from here next week on Monday. Thank you so very much for joining me. And yeah, I hope you'll avail yourselves next week so that we can get to dive deeper into this conversation. Thank you so very much to each and every one of you who has been tuning in on the show this morning. Thank you for all the messages that you've gotten to send, the ones who've called. Thank you for being part and parcel of this conversation. We do this each and every Monday. That is Family Check. So be sure to join us next week on Monday at exactly 9 a.m. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.
Can she even speak?
Definitely she'll speak. Just give us some time with her.
This is my girlfriend. She's called Naz.
Okay.
Mom.
Unafaa uanze kwenda kanisa na uende ufanye nini?
Get saved.
Yes, you get saved.
Oh, you two know each other?
She was the one who asked me to come.
Unaenda wapi? Just go, don't mommy, go and sit there. Hata kwa nyumba zenyewe unataka kwenda?